Hello everyone, my name is Notepad Add-on and I go over games. Today we're going to be going over quite a few games under a very specific genre. That very specific genre is mecha games. Now I love mechs. I adore mechs. I've always enjoyed the artwork, the stories, everything about it. Hello Salmon. I enjoyed mechs because they told us a little bit about ourselves, as well as being gigantic death robots shooting everything in sight. It appeals to that primal teenage boy brain I think we all have. And, that primal teenage boy brain is something we all see, we all understand. But there are, a few, we'll say. There are a few mecha RPGs out there. And they are interesting. Now, what do I mean by that? What am I actually talking about? Notepad, you are saying bullshit. What do you mean they're interesting in that very odd leading question kind of way? The answer, very simply, is that there are a lot of mech games. but also not many at all. So we'll head over to TG here real fast, don't worry. And what really got me thinking about, like, okay, there's got to be a few mecha games out there. I mean, it's Mecha. Come on, what kind of game wouldn't have giant goddamn robots in them? Come on, that's cool, that's interesting, that's pure game bait. Which sounds like a swear word. But there aren't actually that many. Which is really weird. Really weird to think about. Yeah, that fucking document. Yep. This is kind of the best collection we can actually get of actual mech games. Because, well, these are the ones who actually care. And, oh, Fate, the Black Hack, D20 OGL, Interlock Fusion, Apocalypse Engine, BRP, all of these are technically the same thing. Forged in the Dark, Tristat, D20 OGL, Tristat, Interlock Fusion, Fate, D20 OGL. And Lancer. Lancer's in there too, but I don't like Lancer. But a lot of these games have, well, how do I want to best word this? They're not really purpose-built. You're noticing a lot of D20 OGL games, a lot of Starfinders, you know, Hero System, Silhouette. Silhouette's a big one. All of these various games already have their own particular setting or their side. Or their side content. Well, Ajax, you may ask, why is this the case? Why is this like this? There's two main reasons. And I will show you the main reason right here. This is Mechton. There we go, Mechton anime role-playing game. Mechton is, as you can tell, a little bit inspired by Gundam. Mechton is a generic system. At its kind of, well, it's not really a generic system, but you can use Mechton to do a lot of different things. Just about any kind of super robot or mech in general, you can probably make in Mechton. And that came out, let's see, when did Mechton come out? Let's do a little bit, let's look a little look. Oh, it came out in 85. The most recent edition, it came out in 94. This game's almost 20 years old, but people have it's been kind of put on a high standing. And even has things like Gundam Senkai, which is literally a Japanese language like a legit Gundam RPG. Mechton Zero is crowdfunding after delayed for 5 years, and this was all made by Mike Pondsmith. We all love Mike. Mike is a good dev. Mike's a really good developer. The problem is, Mike has zero business sense. And I find he is a fascinating guy. Very fascinating. He just has a very poor business sense about him. And that business sense has kind of made some of his bigger games get shot in the face. Mechton has been kind of in a weird state for a very long time. Cyberpunk and all of the variations of Cyberpunk have been trying to capitalize off of it, but just never adapting. Now, because of games like Mechton, mechs have never really found a way out of them, you could say. And a lot of these games, like Tenra Bancho Zero is not a mech game. It's not. It never was a mech game. That's not the point of it. It's a kabuki theater RPG more than anything. Tokatsu, the Savage Worlds Tokatsu. That's not a mech game. But these are they're games built around me adding mechs, because one big problem with mechs, now Ajax, you kind of touched on it a little bit. One big issue with mechs can be very simple. I was listening to music earlier. Very simply gone down to one thing. Mechs are vehicles. Mechs are vehicles. Mechs are weird because of that. You have to have a distinct pilot and vehicle. And because you have that pilot and vehicle in there, things get a little bit more complicated. Things get a lot more complicated. Because the problem is, you have to now make a decision. And we were having a conversation. We have a conversation about this earlier. Do pilots matter? Maybe they do matter. Do pilots matter though? Or is the mech more important? Where's the mech more important? Can I get out of my mech and get in another mech, and will I be better doing it? That's where one of the complicated factors of this game comes in, is make them transform Devilman style. That's not how that works, man. That's not how that works, Ajax. That's not how that works at all. But one of the big things, and one of the problematic aspects of this, is that everyone has a kind of a different idea of what they actually want. Some people want Gundam, some people want, let me see, top of my head, of course, some people want Bottoms, some people want Armored Core, some people want Evangelion, some people... And some people don't want any of that, and they just want to do something weird. Now, overall, there's a lot of ideas, and there's a lot of mech games. And if you were to tell anyone, okay, this is what objectively what mechs are, you're going to start an argument somewhere. You say this is what an objective mecha game is on M, you're going to get shot. Because there's so many, it's such a broad franchise, there's so many subgenres into it, that it's in this weird position where nobody really wants to commit to something, and then something like Mechton comes by, which does everything. Given enough time, it is the GURPS of GURPS RPGs. It is the GURPS of Mecha. And because it is the GURPS of Mecha, ta-da! You don't need anything else. Everything always kind of reverts back to that. I want to do a Bottoms game. There's like 3 Bottoms RPGs. Play one of those. I want to do a game inspired by Armored Core. Run it in Mechton, because here's how you make it in Mechton. Bottoms. And my other major issue about mech games is that mechs have been around for a very long time. For example, this is Armor Trooper Bottoms. Armor Trooper Bottoms is actually really cool. It came out in 1983. Technically, a Bottom is a vertical one-man tank for offensive maneuvers. Very cool. I love Bottoms. I think Bottoms are really cool. But you also have things like Gundam. When did Gundam come out? Like, just straight up Gundam. Let's see, the original series, Mobile Suit Gundam, came out in 79. 79! It is almost 40 years, it is over 40 years old. But one of the biggest issues with mechs, and I remember going over this with someone, is mechs kind of hit a point where there was just so much of them, and then they just stopped being popular, and everyone wanted to do their own thing with them. And then you have companies like Sunrise, which Sunrise is a cool company, don't get me wrong, they do a lot of cool stuff. The problem is Sunrise kind of put itself into its own thing. And then they started making money. And I'll give you a hint, it wasn't it was not because of mechs. They weren't making money because of mechs. They were making money because of shit like... Where was that one? Yeah, they were making money from things like My Hime. Like, they were making money from everything that kind of wasn't theirs. Like, the girl who leapt through space. You know, all of the, you know, Code Geass stuff. They were making money not off of mech stuff anymore. They were making money off everything else they were doing. So they kind of moved over that direction. Hence, they also, by technicality, they also own the Love Live anime rights. You know, one of the largest multimedia franchises in Japan. Yeah, they own that. They own the rights to... So, mechs are very, very fascinating for a plethora of reasons. But the biggest issue is that... Hold on a second. The biggest issue with mechs, at the end of the day, what's Love Live? Idols. Idols, Ajax. Just idols. But we're going to be going over a few games today. These are all games that are weird. Weird, mysterious, strange. Games that caught my eye because they weren't Mechton, they weren't a standard system. They weren't necessarily games that were standard, in a way. They were different. I wanted to do different things. So these are a couple of games we're going to be going over. Well, we're going to be going over Full Metal President, White House Mecha Chaos, which you may know what it is, you also don't know what it is. Giant Exploding Robots, which is a micro RPG, and we'll be kind of, when I hit this stage, I'll kind of go over it. Fucking Bliss Stage, because we can't escape our best friend Evangelion. My Mecha has shark arms. Remnants. Remnants is actually pretty cool. Very mech, very interesting. Payload, which is actually a complete homebrew game. The Solidus Snake count as a mech? No. Payload, which is a role-playing game of tactical mecha action. This was actually born on TG somewhat, depending on who you talk to. And Chromestrike, a game that was built on TG. We're also going to be going over one last one, which is Lunar Reckoning 69, if we have time. But let's start. Full Metal President, White House Mecha Chaos. What is this game? You may be wondering, and you may be looking, you may be immediately typing in Google, like Metal Wolf Chaos? And the answer is, yeah, it's Metal Wolf Chaos. Metal Wolf Chaos. Let me just open that up. Yeah, Metal Wolf Chaos is actually a From Software game back in the day. One of the OG Xbox in 2004. Now, the big issue is that it never left. It never left Japan. And Metal Wolf Chaos was kind of always like that weird Xbox exclusive for Japan and never left it. However, back about 2 years ago now, Devolver Digital actually picked up the rights, and they published it in 2019. And they published it as Metal Wolf Chaos XD. This game did not come out. This game came out in, if we scroll in here a little bit, 2015. All right, see you, brother. This game came out in 2015, which is 4 years before this was even localized. Probably before most people even knew this game existed. And it was done by Yukari Zero Games. Now, some of you may know Yukari Zero Games. It's Ewan Clooney. I'm gonna completely butcher his name. Is it Ewan? I want to say it's something. It sounds completely normal, but I know it's not normal. That's the problem. So, It was designed by him. Now, if that name sounds familiar at all to you, is because he, even here, has done a lot of different games. And if we go here, of his games that he's done things like Channel A, Made Engine, which is pretty much the Made role-playing game he made itself, Magical Burst, Magical Fury, Spectacular, all these other different games. He's also a big translator. He's one who's translated some major actual games coming out of there, such as the Made RPG, and I believe he was fundamental for Golden Sky Stories. Yeah, he was fundamental for Golden Sky Stories. And he has helped in a lot of different translation projects in the Japanese tabletop RPG sphere, which is noble in a way. Some people don't like him very much for reasons, some of which are justified, others of which are not. But the main thing about this that you should know is he is a game designer, and he does know his shit sometimes. But this game, way back in the day, is about exactly what you think it is. Full Metal President, White House Mecha Chaos. The entire idea is that you play cabinet members of the cabinet members of the United States of America, trying to fight against the evil vice president who has taken over the U.S. in a military coup d'etat. Someone has to be the president. Yeah, someone has to be the president, and then you start choosing who you want to be here. Hey, I want to be the Attorney General. I want to be the Postmaster General. I want to be the Secretary of Veteran Affairs. I want to be the Secretary of the Interior. I want to be the Surgeon General. I want to be the White House Dog. Yes, the White House Dog is a completely valid character option. Now, with all this cool stuff in the game, you may be, oh, wow. All this stuff. Like, okay, this is fine. It doesn't really mean anything. The character outside the mech means very little. Now, you also get things like some optional rules. Oh no, the president is dead. Under siege, the White House. This is where you start. Now, the thing about this game is that it follows the plot of Metal Wolf Chaos pretty solid. You start off here, and you also fight, Nathan Wolf, who is, guess what? The main antagonist of Metal Wolf Chaos. You pretty much are playing the game. But again, it was 4 years before we even knew the game existed, hardly. And here are literally every single one of them. Yeah, you get things such as, Speaker of the House, pretty obvious, Secretary of Defense, okay, alright, making moves. Trade Representative, conducts trade negotiation, okay. Surgeon General. Hulk Hogan. Yes, per the Real American Act of 93, the professional wrestler Hulk Hogan has a place in the line of succession. If he is unavailable, Oprah will take his place. Miss and Mr. America. Technically, Miss America is higher up on the tree than Mr. America. And then we have Best Actor, Poet Laureate, which I find hilarious that Poet Laureates are below the Hulk Hogan. Then you have the White House Prep, the Pet, the Gardener, the Chief Usher, the Executive Chef, the First Children, and then the White House Chief Calligrapher. Yes, those are all of the various options that you can play, including Hulk Hogan. Now, they do make like this big and entire like lore reason of like why everything is here. And overall, the entire lore is mechs have been around forever, fuck you. It's powered by a Masonic technology that could enhance the symbolic power of a machine that has to reach a certain minimum threshold of anthropomorphism. Quite literally, if you build mechs, mechs are gonna do things and get powered by the power of mechs. Because fuck you, that's why. Now, one of the big things that you have to define who you are, and every single president has had a personal power suit. Reagan's Rawhide 1, Clinton's Strike Willy, Obama's Hope Change X8. Having the vice president and various cabinet members also receive Project Icon power suits. And then you pick a main weapon, a mobility pack, and special hardware. That's really it. This game is actually incredibly light. You like it or you don't like it? I was apathetic. Well, maybe that's a little bit mean. I like the idea behind it. I enjoy the concepts behind this game. However, ta-da! Let's get pick one. One second, I need to double check. Yeah, there we go. Prisonals gets picked second one of these. Pretty much some of these main weapons and all these things, they don't mean anything. If you want to say I have the Delano 6 miniguns, go for it. If you want to have the Alamo hand cannon, go for it. Doesn't mean anything. Yeah, it's Secretary of Secretary of Education C2000 Common Core Unit. Yeah, we have a Common Core Unit. The mobility packs. Oh, I have an H4 4000, 4500 Blackhawk up helicopter flight pack. Doesn't fucking matter. All of these things are almost entirely derived from what might occur. Or it's very loosey-goosey, very narrativist. And the reason for this is that this game is actually not really... Well, it doesn't really have a system, per se. What it is, at the end of the day, is... It's effectively like a Fate core. It's effectively a Fate core game at its core, if you really wanted to say that. But even then, it's not really a Fate core game. What you have to do, you establish what's happening, you seem appropriate to roll dice to see what happens. You decide your overall objective, and sets the number of success points needed to achieve it. That's it. Yeah, that's pretty simple. Give me as 10 assets, you gather dice for your power suit, plus a die for each aspect of your suit you're able to use in the situation. Your risks, which is something that goes wrong if you don't. And then you roll and assign. It's effectively a roll and keep system in a way. Let's say I roll a bunch of dice. Let's say I have to roll 5. Let's say I have to roll 5 dice at the end of the day. I'm gonna roll my dice. So I got a 1. That's not very good. I got a 5. A 5, 4, 2, and a 3. I rolled shit. However, I need to I need to assign these somewhere. So let's say we have a risk. Well, we got a big problem child. And I don't want to deal with that. I'm going to take some minor damage to that instead. However, I'm going to use my 2 here for freedom. Can't really do that. Explosions though, I need some explosion points. Objective though, we've got a 3. I get 1 success point. That final 1, well, let's assign that to explosions as well. Well, we're not really getting that much, but we're getting something. And that is at its core what the game is. Yeah, that's it. It's a very simple game. It's a D6 system where you roll a bunch of dice, you assign those dice to things going wrong. And that's really it. Then there's technically things like stress. Stress represents adverse effects. Something goes wrong, you take damage at 6 stress. What does damage do? Well, every part of these that you picked has 2 health effectively. You have minor damage and major damage. You take minor damage, you do that. You take major damage, something's wrong. And technically you have 3, which I think if you go beyond major damage, yeah, it's, let me see, first box, second box. Over major damage, commission. I think if you get major damage again on that particular system, or you have everything is majorly damaged or shut down. Like, that's it, really. Technically, you also have the freedom drive, which has to be activated at least once. And everything else is taking major damage. And guess what? If that takes major damage, you're out of the fight. That's it. Very simple, very light, but it's always you making that choice. As you notice, the GM isn't really doing anything in this game. What the GM is doing is saying, there is a giant robot willing to blow you up using his mega death cannon. Cool. I'm using my mega death cannon. Okay. Let's see what we rolled here. Oh wow, I got a 5. Okay, I'm gonna mitigate that problem right now because fuck you. I'll get some success points, blow it up. Cool. That's fine. That's what we like to see. But some people are gonna be really turned off by that. And repairs are exactly what you think they are. They're repairs. Now, one of the entire ideas of this game is that you're kind of constantly moving. You don't really have time to sit down and repair. Leading to kind of a situation where it's like, well, I don't want to take damage because where am I going to be able to get, restore? Oh, no. Oh, no. That's really, it. That's the game. Now, you get things like freedom. Like, you get some bonus points, like freedom points. The entire idea of you build up freedom points, things are happening. And this is a good thing, is you want freedom points to happen. The more freedom points you get, well, you also get some more, toys to play with, So, for example, freedom level 1, starting to show their discontent state of things. Then it likes freedom level 5, which the American people are now fully behind you. You can use the American people as an asset dice. Every single roll you make. Or then it's like, oh, we can use ANN, or a new feature. You want to build up freedom points so people want to help you so you get stronger. So this is effectively how you level up, is by blowing things up and invoking freedom points. Explosion points are the same thing. Blow shit up. You want more explosion points? That's great. You get 6 explosion points, you can go full Patriot and use your power suit Freedom Drive to unleash an incredible power against your foes. What is a Freedom Drive to? Well, a Freedom Drive is mysterious. The Freedom Drive is, it doesn't matter. It is literally anything you can think of. It's the first time you go full Patriot, the GM and each one of the players each contribute 1 word to the name of the device. You figure out how to actually use it. Yes, you have to just combine a bunch of things together and then explode and then do something with it. That's literally it. So you could technically have a freedom drive that does just about anything you want it to do, as long as everyone around you say, yeah, that's kind of what we're looking for. If you want to have, ultimate final flash as your freedom drive, cool. What does that do? Well, it's because I used both of my giant arm cannon lasers to evaporate everything in a 15-mile radius. Cool. That's cool. We like this. And then they actually kind of go through like what a campaign is. It's like, what's the quip bonus? This is going over the game. These are missions from the game. What happens in kills in Vegas? The Luxor beam. Oh no! Golden cannon. Oh no! Oh no! Like all of these grand and big things, each going over, and then you have, battle at that's not a White House, that's a fight house. Yeah, it's cheesy as fuck. That's the point. There's a literal reason why the main villain is named Nathan Wolf, and he has a suit called Wolf Renegade 2, and he uses the Tyrant Drive. This game is ridiculous, and it knows it's ridiculous. But that's the point. And then they have sequels, which I find some of these hilarious. It's, red, white, blue, dawn. Commies are trying to take over. Full Metal President versus Full Metal Prime Minister. The real culprit of the shadowy figure is only known as Crime Minister. Full Metal President versus Zombie Cyborg Theodore Roosevelt. Nuclear Kaiser, Legion of Presidents. Like, all of these are ridiculous, and that's the point. And there's a reason I enjoy this game as a mech game. Like, it's like, haha, look, it's funny. Do I love this game, however? Do I feel like this deep, abiding friendship and respect toward this game? Not really. I feel pretty apathetic toward it, to be frank. I enjoy the ideas. I enjoy the concepts. I enjoy the fact that it is a aggressive mecha nightmare where you have to use your freedom drive to blow things up. That's cool. That's funny. I enjoy that aspect of it. I think it's really interesting to use effectively. Like, yeah, no, this is interesting. I like this. I want more of it though. But it's also the kind of game that can't do more. This game isn't designed to be doing anything more than what it is. You are playing Metal Wolf Chaos. If you like Metal Wolf Chaos, you're going to like this game. You don't like Metal Wolf Chaos, you probably aren't going to like this game. Because it's cheesy. And if you can't kind of deal with that cheesy factor, this isn't going to, you aren't going to like it. It's not going to be fun. You're not going to get the joke. With the joke being that it's ridiculous and very silly. But for something a little bit lighter, yeah, even lighter than that, which is giant exploding robots. What's giant exploding robots about? Pretty simply, you just name your character, you get a personality trait, you have 3 stats. That's it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Anytime you need to make a test, roll a d6 and go under your try to hit under your attribute. Actually, you take a number of d6s equal to your pilot's relevant stat, add a die for any of your modules, and roll. Try to get a 6. That's it. When you call it to do it. What happens if you fail? Something bad happens. Yeah, pretty much it. Like this is one of the larger things. This is by Tanner C. Let's actually talk to Tanner C here. Mr. Tanner. Oh. Maybe if I close out of the thing. Let's see, will this break the game? Yes, it did. It did break it. Cool. Let me just, Hello, Tanner. Yeah, this is Tanner Claus. Yeah, I can't even see his tweets. You know, only approved followers can see his. Oh no. Can't really see anything there. It's a micro RPG. The most I've ever actually been able to find on it is, well, the fact that it exists. And that's really it. There isn't actually that much here with it. It's a gimmick game with the idea of saying that I have written the Giant Exploding Robots TRPG. That's literally it. It's right here. You can buy it exactly on DriveThruRPG. It's exactly here. And that's pretty much it. Is it worth this money? No. It's literally this. It's $2 for 9 pages of a game that can roughly be summarized as try to roll 6. That's it. Yeah, you have a bunch of cool modules, and you're like, oh wow, these modules seem cool, and they do things. They really don't. They don't. Anytime something goes wrong, you can explode. You self-destruct, everyone dies, and you can use echoes. Cool. There's a bunch of side rules, things like melodrama. You know, you have to make a test. If you explode your giant robot, oh no, after you explode, you can choose a character's module and repair it. Oh no! Daunting challenges, upgrading your giant robot with more modules, more things. None of that matters. This is the only thing that you really care about, which is investing in these. You roll a D100, you pick a bunch of things. That's it. He's asking for $2 for this. No artwork, no nothing. You pay for this. Did you come late for Chromestrike? No, actually, Chromestrike is right over here. Right now, I just finished Full Metal President, and we just finished actually Giant Exploding Robots, being the fact that Giant Exploding Robots is very light. And one of the main things about mecha games, which I find very fascinating, is that in recent times we have two extremes. We have these really heavy games, and we have these really light games, and we have nothing in the middle, which is one of the reasons why I think that, you know, everyone's favorite fucking mecha game, apparently, everyone's favorite mech game, Lancer. Yes, a Toyota Lancer. No, Lancer RPG. Like, everyone's favorite mech game, Lancer. I think one of the reasons why it kind of took off the way it did was because it was a mid-range game. Not too complicated to understand, not too difficult, not too light for people to not like. And I remember people keep getting this pitched, it's a mecha game for people who don't like mechs. And that was very accurate to me. And one of the parts that I really didn't like the game for, it never really satisfied me for them. Notice in the middle says a lot about mech society. Yeah, no, Lancer being in the middle, it does say a lot, actually. And it's a fascinating kind of just idea when you realize that you either have these super crunchy games with a million billion options, or you have giant exploding robots with you roll 3 times on a D100 chart for your mech. That's it. And I think that's one of the issues with mech games in general, is that you have these very key philosophies that are very difficult to kind of compromise in. And roughly speaking, you can say that there are 3 core, trails of thought. You can say we are the Armored Core theory, the Gundam theory, and technically you can say the Evangelion theory. Armored Core theory is the mech is more important than anything else. It doesn't matter about what you are or how you operate. The entire idea behind it is I want to customize my mech, I want it to do a billion gillion things, and I want it to be cool while doing it. That's awesome, and there's a lot of Armored Core theory games out there. Gundam theory is a little bit more about personal things. It's about personal character development. It's about personal ideas rather than the mech kind of thing. The mech is a bonus, you could say. The idea is the mech is a reflection of the person. That's where you get things like, well, my pilot's an ace pilot, and he can take any rust bucket he wants and make it a badass. That's cool. That's interesting. Gundam theory is probably the most interesting. The problem is, Gundam theory is also one of the more extreme ones. Armored Core games tend to be very heavy. They tend to be very heavy, or they tend to have very minimal content outside of its one specific thing. We're doing high-speed death machine fighting. Do we need anything else? Absolutely not. Gundam stuff tends to be really thick, or it's like, here's a story. Like, here's a story with characters, and the mechs are like 2 seconds long. We don't care about them. Evangelion theory can roughly be summarized up as, the reason we have mechs is because I want mechs in it. There's no reason for them to be there. And speaking on that final theory, the next game we're going to be going over is Bliss Stage. Not Chromestrike, is Bliss Stage. What is Bliss Stage? What is this game? It's Eva. Yeah, that's it. It's Evangelion. Do you like Evangelion? Yes. Cool. You might not like Bliss Stage. Go play Adeptus Evangelion if you do. What is Bliss Stage, though? Bliss Stage, at its core, is like a really weird game back in 2007. I think it came out even earlier than that, technically. Where you are children in the future. Like, let me see if I can remember the full plot, because I read it and I thought I was going insane. You are people in the future. Actually, no. Aliens come from dream time, effectively. Infect all the adults with magic sleeping paralysis. Society breaks down. Children have to fight back. And the entire idea is that you are part of the resistance group that can pilot a thing called an anima. And that anima is a dream mech. And that dream mech is exactly what you think it is. You use the power of friendship and relationships to build aspects of your mech in dreamland as you fight. Yes, it is a weird game. This game is bizarre. And Bliss Stage has, for being so unique, for being such a unique game, there aren't really that much about it. Now, one thing about it, there is technically this version right here. I have interim version. I have the, interim stage. Technically, there's one called ignition stage. I have not been able to find ignition stage. Everything leads me back to interim. Every time someone mentions ignition stage, they just link this document again. And then you have things like this. Technically there's a visual novel. Wait, there's a visual. Wait, what? There's a visual novel? Being produced by Perpetual Motion Game. Links for public demos. What? What? What the fuck? Yeah, this is a visual novel now? Oh. Oh, okay. Because again, like the last thing people were really talking about Bliss Stage, this is on their main website, mind you. My Ben Lehman. Ben Lehman? I'm gonna say Ben Lehman. And I don't think that's him. Yeah, he's not popping up at all, really. But this came out in 2011. This was the last really mention of... Yeah, I am kind of confused. Yeah, I'm kind of confused now there's a fucking visual novel for this guy. I didn't see that before. I thought they were talking about the game. Now, what has this guy done? What's this guy's main thing? Weird games. They're weird games. But I find them fascinating in their own way. Because you get games such as Hot Guys Making Out. Guess what Hot Guys Making Out is? I'll let you understand. It's about hot guys making out. That's literally what the game is. You can buy it for $13. Like, Polaris is Dying Days of People, Bravest Night, Mistake. Pretty much his version of Noblesse. That's kind of cool. When is this? 2011. I don't really think he's been doing much recently. Like, he's got a lot of weird games. And a lot of them have sexy times in them. A lot. The fan site is dead. I did check that. The loveismyweapon.com is gone. There's technically, this is still around. But... let's Bliss Stage, love is your weapon. Now I'm on the hunt. Now Notepad is on the hunt. I thought there was a Kickstarter. Kickstarter. There is. When did this come out? Made us 67 backers. Jesus. Using Ren'Py engine based on the tabletop updates. When was the last update? 2014. Yeah, this ain't coming up. Ooh. Where's the best place to go these days to find current events? Yeah. This is... Okay, maybe there's a Tumblr. Let me see if the Tumblr's still up. Yeah, these are dead. Oh my God. Dating sim, discretion sought. Like, there's nothing here, actually. That's actually kind of fascinating that this kind of died on its face. But everyone I've actually talked to about Bliss Stage ended like a scam, isn't it? Games like that, you want to know what probably happened. They probably were making it, and they probably were going through it, and they realized that making a visual novel is a lot harder than you think it is. And that $2,000 they asked for was not enough. That's the thing. $2,000 is enough money when you have two people working on a game. You split the money in half and you can live off it for a bit. $2,000 is enough if you are like one guy working on an RPG Maker RPG that you can, dump so you don't have to work 60 hours a week. $2,000 for a team with a bunch of writers, with artists on board. $2,000 is gone in a week. Like, it can be evaporated. And if one guy who does the coding job, if he isn't doing his job fast enough, well, we gotta wait on him. And since we waited on him now, we're 3 weeks behind. Okay, but because we're 3 weeks behind now, it's 4 weeks behind there, and now it's 4 weeks behind. These things escalate, and then suddenly you realize there's no more money, and nobody cares anymore, and you run away. Usually legit scams have a little bit more going on for them, or they kind of buy in and then they leave. These guys, I think they just got overwhelmed and just stopped. But Bliss Stage by itself, and I understand why, because Bliss Stage is a weird game. Let me remember that. Like, Bliss Stage is a weird game for a lot of reasons. The main reason I think this game is really weird to me anyway is he does literally tell you to email him if you need more players. 2007, 2008 was a simpler time. A time where games like these would come out and it would be a niche. When the fact that you can say, here's the fan site, that's insane. That's weird to think about nowadays. Isn't it kind of weird to think about? Like, here's a fan site of a game that is nothing really, but people enjoyed it because it was such a weird little game. Now, he does go over, this first part is quite literally him talking to you. This is not like in lore or anything. This is him talking to you. And like, let's go over the lore. Let's go over like, why am I a pilot? I do like the artwork here. The artwork does have a certain charm to it. But you see all this? Become an anime pilot. Look at all this. Wow, this isn't real. None of this is real. None of this is real. You aren't actually in a mech. You're in a dream mech. Maybe. Because the entire idea is that the anima is a the anima is a thing that you enter, you go into the dream world, and you have to fight aliens who inhabit the dream world using the power of emotions. And you do that because one player has to play an anchor and the other player plays the pilot. And the other players play dream nightmare creatures making things bad. If this game sounds a little bit weird, there's a reason for it. This game is really bizarre, like really weird, for a lot of reasons. But the big thing is, everyone has to design a certain number of characters. Let's say there is a group of 13 characters in this stage. all the 3 to 4, 3 to 5 players or whatever have to then pick these characters that be theirs. Well, this pilot's mine, this anchor's mine, this side character's mine, this one is mine. And you're all kind of picking and choosing which ones are yours, and then you have to play them out like that. You look at it, your mind kind of fogs a bit. You're like, what? Bliss Stage. Bliss Stage, you wouldn't be pretentious, would you? And the answer is yes. The answer is very pretentious. Like, this game is a very weird game for a very strange reasons. The main thing being that it is in Dreamtime, and it's a game not about mechs. As we kind of went over before, this is the Evangelion theory of game design. It's not about the mechs. If this game did not explicitly say there are mechs involved and you pilot something, you honestly wouldn't need to deal with them. We are kids and we enter dream combat with aliens from the dream reality. Yes, that is what it works. You distribute ownership, choose your starting relationships. Your relationships are incredibly important. And they also do things such as being pretty odd. And this is one of those games that has a very distinct and very pronounced option to say that you need to build a relationship, possibly about, well, relationships. You have intimacy, you have trust. These are your stats. You do not have strength. You do not have dexterity. You have intimacy and trust. To kind of break it down, intimacy is how close you are to that person. Trust is how much you trust them. Your trust if your trust ever hits 0, you lose all the benefits of this, as well as take bliss. You take 108 bliss, you go insane. This is the point right here. This is where the main crux of the game is. This is kind of like your emotional health in a degree, but you already have emotional health, and your intimacy is pretty much how powerful it is. Now, you may be noticing some of the ages. Suggested age 16, suggested age 15, suggested age 14, suggested age 13. And that's a very distinctive reason. The characters are teenagers. The characters are distinctively kids. And some people like that. Other people do not. I personally question it a bit. Now, one of the other important things is, what do you actually do? What do you actually have to do to succeed or fail at a check? And what do? You roll dice, no specific dice, and you either get a plus or minus. It's fate. You're effectively running a fate game, but it's not quite fate. So, effectively, everything is broken down into these values. Trauma, terror, bliss. Trauma is how hurt you are, terror is how scared you are, bliss is how connected to the alien hive mind you are. It sounds really interesting, it's not. Terror builds up beyond your trauma, you take trauma. Trauma builds up to a certain degree, you die. You take 108 bliss, you die. That's it. You pretty much get 6. If you get 7 trauma, you die. You get 7 terror, you're dead. 108 bliss, you're dead. And then trust is exactly what you think it is. We already went over it. Now these are the intimacy level charts. Is this game explicitly saying that the only really way to build up intimacy with another human being is physical contact? Somewhat. But it's things like Intimacy 1, you know each other's names. Intimacy 3, affectionate personal conversation, make food together, get drunk together, get into a fight. 4, kiss, touch, see, exchange blood, physically fight for real. 5, sex, have sex. Literally, that just fuck. That's how you build up to 5, is you fuck. Stress is like emotional health to reduce trauma. Like, not, no, it's emotional health to reduce trust. There are a lot of values in this game. That's one of the things with it. There are values for values. This game feels like it was built by like someone that was extremely needed. This is a game that someone wrote to say, I want Evangelion, but me no want Evangelion. Me want me own thing. I think this was a story somewhere. I think the writer penned this down as like a novel to never exist kind of thing. And it was built up for a very specific reason for a very specific group of people. And that's why Bliss Stage constantly kind of gets mentioned these days. Like, every now and again, Bliss Stage will kind of pop up. It's intimacy, and, you know, it's sex, it's about trust, it's about emotions, it's about physicality. But you also have to remember, this was the same company that wrote Hot Guys Making Out. This is the same guy who made this game. I'm not surprised. Like, this is a... like... wasn't the make... Yeah, the VN came out way ago. It was about 4 years after this game came out officially, even as a PDF, so I'm feeling that's... Oh, God. My shoulders are locking up again. I'm feeling that the VN came out as a let's do something fun, and then they did do something fun, and it was like, oh no, responsibility, fuck. And I've tried to find things about this game. I was like, you know, I'm going to make a character and see what I could do. Don't bother. I cannot find the character sheets at all. Any instance of the character sheets have either been lost to the sands of time or are just buried beyond and websites that have been dead for 30 years. Like, they just aren't a thing. First time a non-pet relationship is destroyed, their heart, if all their relationships are destroyed, they are killed. What does this mean? This means pretty much your affection, your ability to keep relationships is entirely dependent on the fact that you are either harmed or you are not harmed. It is a very narrativist game. This is the kind of game that art students play. Yeah. There's a few instances of like But this game is very specific. I do like the fact that, you know, he kind of sums up everything. The chapter ends, you know, it's the amount of damage you can take, the relationship values. You non-pilots don't have any value. If you don't play a pilot, you aren't a person. You are not a human being. Fuck you. So what do you actually do? Yes. You call an action. You initiate the action. You play out the action. Then you end it. Ta-da! That's it. If this sounds really weird, the answer is yes, it is really weird. Hello, Velgun. What I mean by artiste, I don't mean like an artist. I don't mean like, man, I like drawing stuff. No, it is the artiste. The guys who wear beanies and, you know, beanies at the, you know, the coffee house and fucking snap when they want to, you know, clap. Bliss Stage is that. Bliss Stage is all about the raw emotional power of role playing. The kind of people you kind of want to punch in the face. And a lot of these actions are, you hook into the anima, you do something, something occurs, and then something happens. What do? There's no rules for it, really, like what's occurring. For example, all of these actions are by technicality the same. You want to find an alien warrior in single combat? Going to be about the same as clearing a path to the alien outpost through dozens of aliens. Cool. Interlude actions. What's an interlude action, you may ask? everything else. You are role-playing. Yeah, you are role-playing in this game. And it's a fascinating one for that reason. Things are going wrong. Things, happen, and you are very much playing the game as a story rather than as a role-playing game. This is the RP and Cat and 72.4 and Gene like 10. Yeah, and then you have like example final and resolution action. What's a resolution? Game's hopes. When a pilot surpasses 108 bliss after his final action, or when there's only one pilot remaining, and like on a final action, pilot's final control over everything. You are going to die. You are fucked. Like, you get the choice of what happens. Why? Because you're cool. Including 20 years later, assassins find him and execute him for his war crimes. I don't know why that's even an option here, but it is. But that is what it's about. That's your actions. You define something, you do something. So what do you actually have to do? Like, what do you roll in this godforsaken game? It's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's roll. Like, what are we rolling? The answer is yes. You are rolling something. Does it really state what that something is? Absolutely not. Because you can use technically any dice you wish. So let me see if I can go there. And if I'm kind of going through this, I read through this entire book and my eyes glazed over. Because Bliss Stage hurts. It is a ball-bustingly slog to read. This is 206 pages of this. No artwork hardly, nothing to really go off of, very standard font, and it was like, okay, well, if this happens and all this kind of pretentious language and... Yeah, you can do that if you want. Nothing can stop you from saying that. So, how do you actually add... What do you actually do? What makes this mech a mech? You add parts to his anima. You simply do by describing the relationship and the part that it forms. The pilot may add any part which is presently not in use or did not suffer a malfunction earlier in the mission. And at any time, the player controlling the anchor can yank the cord and bring him back. That's it. Wow, we're doing it. Yeah, I'm using my power of hopes and dreams and my relationship with my girlfriend as my canon. I'm like, cool. Does it do anything? Sort of. The main crux of the game comes in here. Is the idea of traumatizing, of endangering categories, of undergoing panic, of things going wrong. You roll all your dice. Because if we go all the way back up here, let's do it all the way back here. Let me just... And it's very laid out poorly. I fucking hate the way this game is laid out. Let me see if I can remember where the exact part is to what you actually have to do in this game. Because it doesn't tell you, like, this is actually how you play the fucking game. No, this is where you play the game. So, let's take a bunch of our D6s. Here, we got a few D6s. Let's say I got a few parts. So, we got our category. We got a few categories being threatened. Oh man, we got our mission success. That's the scary part. We got our safety. We got our relationship safety. Very important. And our bliss. This is very important. We go over all these. So let's roll our 4 dice. Let's roll. All right, we did pretty good. I got a 6. Where are we going there? I complete my mission goal. That is option 1. Very important. Pilot safety. I don't know. but I want to maintain control of that. My relationship, though, ooh. So, hey, girlfriend, I got a 2 there. You're not having a good time. Hey, don't worry. We can get this together. Don't worry about it. And I also got a 1. So my bliss, I only gain 1 bliss. Because all dice not placed into a category are used to count how much bliss a pilot gains. So pretty much the more good things you roll, the more pain and suffering you're going to be doing. Because this is really all it is. You determine what the action is and what needs to consult. And let me see. Force a relationship presently active. Like, oh no, I'm being threatened here and you want to break my relationship with my girlfriend. Cool, I gotta pick a die for safety. You endanger a category. Oh no, my safety is endangered. Pick a die for that category. Oh no, I'm undergoing total panic. Pick a die for that category. That's literally all it is. And you can threaten a lot of categories, and you can threaten different things. This is a bunch of options to determine whether or not you roll dice and where you put the fucking dice. Do I like this game? No. This game is very long and very annoying for very little. Well, there's more tables. Well, it depends on whether or not... if you break your relationship with the ink or something else occurs. But let me just go down here. Oh, here's all the interlude actions. Same thing. We got all our... Here's the intimacy thing again. Don't worry, we need that. That's very important. We have to determine what the intimacy building is about. Gotta just go down here. The briefing actions. Go all the way down past the briefing actions. Mission planning. Gotta go all the way past the mission planning. Okay, final. Okay, we gotta go. Special circumstances. Like, it goes over things like this. Might become pregnant. Hones that character in the GM. His relationship with the unborn child 3/3. +1 intimacy. Again, direct blood relatives. All the other characters have intimacy of 1 trust, 1 intimacy, 1 trust. If the mother's relationship with the child is broken, the pregnancy miscarries, and the child is killed. Becoming a pilot, changing authority figures, changing hope, longer campaigns, shorter campaigns, 1 pilot games, 2-player games, absent players, guest players, unstable groups. Advisory. What I'm saying is, this game is 95% how to play, how to tell the story properly, and 5% actually mecha combat in Dreamtime. And some of you may say, hey, I love storytelling. Hell yeah. This is very much directed. That's why, like, my theory is, at one point, Bliss Stage was, Bliss Stage, a novel by Ben Lerman. Rather than, Bliss Stage, Interim Stage by Ben Lerman. Just because there's a lot of, like, this is what you have to do to build intimacy. This is what you have to do this. This is what you have to do this. When this occurs, this occurs. When this occurs, when this occurs. And some people are going to adore that. Yeah. It's from 2007. Yeah, this game is 14 years old, baby. The last mention of it was back in 2011, really, with a visual novel being proposed and then never finished. Yeah, there is apparently there is something called Ignition Stage. Apparently Ignition exists. And this is what Ignition Stages, right there. Apparently it exists. Do I know where it is? Absolutely not. I just cannot find it. And this is what the artwork was supposed to look like, and that's, oh boy. And that's kind of it. I mean, Bliss Stage kind of was a game derived entirely from its pitch. And I think people, when they hear like what Bliss Stage is, they're like, man, that sounds kind of neat. The problem is, people then think about it a bit more and then open the book up and they realize it is a story. You are reading someone's story. Even down to the fact that like all the anchors are already pre-named, but they're not supposed to be pre-named. You're supposed to change the name, but they already have names. Like, it's this very strange... I do think at one point there was, like, let me see, anchor templates, like, yeah, we'll go. Yeah, like, here's our anchor templates, where, like, oh, Nell is driven, Nathan is kind, Megan is tempestuous, Jenny is savvy. You're not supposed to use these names, but are these names people that were in this theoretical novel? Yeah, probably. There probably is something in that theoretical novel that will never exist, that these characters were characters. And that's... It's weird that the pilots are the only ones that really have any, agency and really any ability to do much. But it also makes complete sense because they're the only one doing anything. If you want to do something, you have to play a pilot. And if only one pilot can technically go into a situation at any time. So if you have a group of 5, you're going to have one player play an anchor, one player play the pilot. 2 of your players are going to have to pretty much be co-GMs to somebody else. And the GM is treated as a player, which is kind of odd when you think about it, but they're treated as another player to the assortment. It's a weird game. A game that I want people to see and understand. Because it's probably one of the few that actually has a little bit of meat to it. Now, this is one of those other games that I found that I was initially really cool, awesome, my mecha has shark arms, cool, neato burrito. It's not, I don't think it's actually that interesting, to be honest. It's a GM-less game back in 2019, and this person, Alexander Sprague, Kitty Crusade. Oh, why is your name Kitty Crusade? Oh, that sounds bad. So let's find him. Let's find this man. So oh wow. I'm gonna find something weird, aren't I? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I make wannabe games. Okay, so this guy made this game. My mecha has shark arms. So what have you... Oh, I don't like where this is going. Moonpunk. Moonpunk is first full-length tabletop role-playing game. Powered by the apocalypse, where you play punks fighting fascism on a dystopian moon. Ugh. Oh, no. Yeah, this is the guy who made it. Right here. Interesting. Interesting. What have you done recently? You've done... Never heard of this guy. He's in none of the circles I'm in. Actually, he's followed by C22. That's cool, I guess. He exists as a human being. He's a real human being. Really isn't anything. He's just another designer. He made his start doing effectively what I'm doing right here. And he wrote this on Twitch, live on Twitch. And here's what this awesome, cool micro game is. Wow, look, someone's the pilot. Yeah, you'll set the pace. One pilot roll D20, everyone roll D4s. Yeah, this is cool. Let's do it. Let's go to the garage. Yeah. This game is literally all about players taking the role of a giant mech. One of you is the head, one of you is the arms, and one to two of you are arms, one to two of you are legs. I like the idea of this because pretty much you build what it is, but you have to set the pace. What's that mean? For some reason, because only one person can see out the front. Only you can see what the kaiju's about to do, and you have to be ready. You roll a d4 to see what the kaiju is doing. And once you... and I like the idea of this. The idea that you have to set the pace by doing something, you have to build dodge, you have to do something, because you are the only one, as the captain. Yeah, your Power Rangers, but located in the body parts. Yeah, pretty much. But the entire idea is that you take a d20. Do I have a d20 on me right now? Do I have a d20 on me? I don't have a d20 on me, because I'm a fucking loser. I have a d20 in my... Do I have a d20 in my bag? My special bag full of special things? No, I have a dead fudge dice, though. Do I seriously have no d20s in here? No, there we go. You set the pace. That's the most important thing. So... let's see. Now let's roll. Come on, roll something decent. Okay, I got a 13. The problem is that you can never say the numbers. So I rolled a 13 here. Technically, I'd have broken the rules already. So I have to kind of give you guys how fast you want to go. Keep pace with the captain. Hit these kaiju for all you're worth. On a success or sink, you can deal damage to the kaiju or defend against a kaiju attack. You're steady. On success, you can dodge incoming attacks or move your mech closer in order to keep pace with the mech or might come crashing down. Because the idea is, very simply, you have to roll a section. Let me see. You need to match pace. You're way off, you might desync. Let me see. The hell? Did you not even state? Okay. Because you're trying to do this, you're building the pace up. You're building this pace. You're building this idea up. You're slowly, very steadily rolling things like D6. Roll a 1. Roll a 5. Roll a 4. And you're building this up. You're trying to guess, because you're trying to guess what that number is. You're looking at it, you're like, okay, like, come on, guys, like, ramp it up. Ramp it up a little bit. Come on, see if we can't roll. Pull back, pull back, pull back. Please, God, pull back. Because you don't want to go over. Because you go over, bad things happen. You go under, bad things can happen if you go too far under. But you want to be within 1 to 2. If the only one can do stuff so the players aren't pilots or like a crew, a tank crew. Yeah, to a degree. Could you use this system as kind of like a way to do something like that? Yeah, that could be kind of interesting, actually. Kind of tell a tank story. It'd be weird, but the thing is, too, this is a GM-less game. The captain will tell us what the kaiju is doing, then set the pace. He rolls a d20. If we match pace exactly, we sync. Or when part sinks, we can roll on the sync tables. That's good. We start rolling on desync tables. That's bad. You have 1 armor. If armor's broken, oh no, we'll disable the part. Oh no! For each battle, we can prepare 1 armor. We gotta fight all the kaiju. We can do it, everybody, using the power of friendship. Because the thing is, you can die or jump in the time pod. Pick a new captain, scavenge new parts, and show the kaiju who's boss. That's literally it. Would this be a good game for, like... Now, would this be a good game for something like a Twitch stream or something like that? To a degree. I think that could be fun. Like, everybody is... It would be something like every single player is, the Twitch chat are the players, and I rolled this. I'm like, I roll a 15. Everyone's building up, like, okay, everybody, calm down, calm down. We're gonna get our shit rocked. Oh no. That could be funny. That could be kind of interesting, but do I want to do that though? That's the question. Because this is really what it is. You choose your pilot. Oh wow, this is cool. You choose your mod table for your arms, your legs. Cool. If all your parts sync at once, groove flow. Every weapon hits for max damage. Shit posting. Omewa Shindaru. 9999 damage. Kaiju are extinct. You win. Yes, it's a meme game. Oops, all armor. Like, there's some funny bits, but it's like, okay. What do you actually roll? Like, that's, like, my question is, like, what are you fucking rolling? You just keep pace? What do you keep pace with? This is one of those things with these kind of games, is that sometimes you don't really find what you're actually supposed to do. I thought I knew it, because it said, like, oh, D4. Like, wait a second. Like, this is just for the pilot. So, let me see. Each turn D4, what the kaiju will do. Set the pace by rolling that. Going over, you can use some code commands to give them range. A successor sync, you can deal damage and defend against a kaiju attack. Okay. So you just roll D6s? Or is it D4s? You just choose? Is that it? Because again, I misread this actually. I thought everyone was rolling D4s. I'm like, that's kind of stupid, but apparently you can. Apparently you do. Is it just D4s everywhere? That. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this one. But it's games like these that mecha games kind of have to compete with. Because you get games like this. Like, here's my mecha has shark arms. Oh, wow. Wowzers. This is cool. It's a cool idea, but it's like, this is mechs. Now, the next game we're going to be going over is not Chromestrike. Chromestrike, you're coming up soon, I promise. Chromestrike, my darling. This is Remnants. Remnants made the rounds a while ago. And Remnants is pretty weird. But it's weird in a good way. It's weird in a fun way. And the reason why it's weird is, let's go here, Remnants. Actually, Remnants TRPG. It was by this company called Outrider Studios, and this is what the game is. And what stuff has Outrider Studios done? These are the guys who made Warbirds, actually. And Warbirds is actually a really cool RPG about exactly what you think it is. It's about playing kind of this pulpy setting of flying high and dazzling lights and shooting the hell out of things you don't like to see. Very innovative game, very odd game. And there are a lot from these guys. These guys have been pumping out games for a while. A lot of Warbird stuff, though. So, let me do Outrider Studios. Their main thing, though, was Warbirds. Like, Warbirds was their thing that kind of made them famous. Remnants was, I think, more of their passion project. This was Edge, though. Edge was not loved. Edge was far from beloved. Some of the notes on Edge were very... What was the one review I saw on Edge that kind of like, oh, like, I ever read something you're like, oh no, like that's not good. You notice too, it's not even technically listed on anything. Yeah, Edge role-playing game right here. Jeff B. from 2013. Edge is an example of how a game should not be written. 170 pages long, 150 poor attempt at flowery, exciting prose, and 20 pages of information. That will continue to be a trend. Now, who's the main guy behind this? And let me see. Who is the main guy? What's your name, actually? Let me see if I can remember your name. Steve Bergenson. Bergeron. Steve Bergeron. Berger. Steve Berger is the main guy behind this. This was his star child, effectively. And let's see. Arid sheets. We got all the cool arid sheets, all the maps and stuff, broken lands. Dogfight tractors. I should go over Warbirds, actually. See, I'm more interested in Warbirds than this game, to be honest. I haven't, like... Remnants kept coming up because it was such a unique idea. Exactly, Warbirds does it. I'm like, man, I just want to look at Warbirds now. Like, oh, man. Yeah, I mean... There always comes a point with some of these games where you just kind of have to nod and be like, yeah, okay, who cares? Like, you can't really go. This was their generic system, though. Like, I remember that. Now, Warbirds came... When did Warbirds come out? When did this game actually come out? Like, let's see. Remnants came out a while ago. Like, a long time ago, relatively speaking. Because Warbird is actually Remnants is a platinum seller. This one came out in 2013. When that one came out, 2013 is when you came out as well. So I think Warbird is a little bit older. Not by much, though. But yeah, both of these are platinum sellers, which is actually pretty impressive. Like, people shit on drive-thru sometimes, but like, it's pretty damn impressive you can get up to here. Only 1,500 products have actually hit that. Like, it's very rare to get up this high. What is Remnants? What is this game about? Remnants. Remnants is a fascinating thing. I like Remnants setting. You're just like, I love Remnants setting. The Broken Lands is really cool because the entire idea is, a long time ago, there were people, and those people made giant robots, and they fought. But they're gone now. A long time as well. Because one thing with Remnants is that the actual Remnants, the battle Remnants, the mechs you'll be piloting, are self-repairing. Because they're scouts, effectively. You blow one up, they're going to repair themselves. They're going to fix themselves up, they're going to make themselves better, and they're going to keep fighting. Which makes this very interesting setting of, these are not battle mechs. These are scouts. And the old school real war mechs are long gone. And I really like the setting of this game. I love it. I think it's really fascinating. It's just a little bit... It's hard to get invested in some aspects of this game. With the characters, anyway. Because... Because the Broken Lands are so weird. That it's hard to kind of get wrap your head around things. The idea of like, oh, everyone is technically immortal. Yeah, everyone is immortal in this game, technically. You can't die unless you age. But then your metabolism kills itself. You know, you are insanely tough because it's hard to kind of wrap your head around things. This is usually the argument I see for people who make arguments of like, oh, well, you could never truly roleplay an elf. Because you aren't an elf. It's hard to wrap your head around being such a long-lived, crazy creature. Same thing here. You kind of gotta read the lore to understand anything of what's kind of going on in some cases. And I read through the lore, and the lore is interesting. I really like it. The problem is that it is a very weird setting, and some people are going to be like, yay, I really like it. Other people will be like, no. And the problem with weird settings, as I think anyone kind of can understand, weird settings make for weird games. And weird games can't really be adapted to anything except that setting. Can you play Remnants as anything other than Remnants? Not really. You can try, but there's going to be parts about this game that just don't gel well. The fact that to really build the strength of your mech, your remnant, you have to be destroyed. You need to get wrecked. You need to get your shit rocked. Because when you get your shit rocked, you build armor. You build your structure up. You become stronger. Because that's what they're designed to do. They're designed to rebuild themselves. Hey, I want to, my character is 70 years old. Me like, yeah, of course he is. He eats. He eats a lot. Like, it's trying to adapt this game to anything other than what it is, it gets a little bit wonky. But what is the game at its core? Like, what is actually the game? It's a 1d6 system. Yes. 1d6. And it's 1d6 plus your skill, plus your stat, plus your mods. That's it. And the rapid fire system, I've actually tried to find things on the rapid fire system, and what I've found is nothing. Like, the only one to really use it is, cinematic, adaptable. These are really the only guys who have used it. Edge, Remnants, Warbirds, these are the only guys to really use this system. No one else has used it. It's not like a proprietary system. Like, you can't just open up a book and say it's there. Not quite. Like, it does have some of its own quirks to it. But mostly, it's the fact that characters are broken down to 3 main stats: body, mind, spirit, which is probably the most boring thing about this book. And, -3 stat, crippling injury. And you also have... This is just a design thing. This is just, graphic design notepad. And I'm not a good graphic designer, but don't do this. Don't do this where there's 2 on B. No, don't. Put this on the second page. You can do that. I believe in you. You have plenty of room to do this. But body gets the most explained, while mind is just how smart you are. Spirit is how, faith and willpower. As also the least cared about one. By cutting the script. You will notice that throughout this game. It is the worst fucking thing in the world, and it hurts me. Skills are exactly what you think they are. They're skills. They are pretty standard, and the difficulty are pretty easy to understand as well. This is not a very complicated game to learn. There's just a lot of points in the back of it. Like the reserve system. Oh no, it's not a failure. Help characters meet their 3 points of reserve. Reserve represent a bonus D6. Well, represent a bonus to the D6 that can be added at any time, even after die is rolled. So you can add +3 to one roll. And mind you, that may not seem like a lot, but when everything has to be determined like this, adding a +2 to something could make a moderate into a tough. Adding a +3 to something boosts something from a moderate to even a very tough if you rolled well enough. Like, it's a big deal to add +3. Smaller numbers do have the problem, the distinctive problem, of those numbers are going to... How do I want to word this? It's going to go rapidly in either direction very quickly. A +3 in this system is game-changing. A +4 in this system is insanity. And then you end up with situations where you have to compensate for that. So, this also does have a rule of awesome to it, a rule of cool system. I am always mixed on these. Sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't. Bonus thing, the simple thing is, you see +1 bonus to roll and 1 point back to your reserve. That's it. Critical failure, you roll a 1 and you fail. Because you can still roll a 1 and succeed in this game. Because you're that good. It's still possible. It's a little bit odd. You have to make You have to make the choice of whether or not you critically fail, which I understand the point of, but you also gain duress. Duress is its own thing, but it's also kind of like XP, and you want duress because the more duress you get, the better your mech actually develops. That's pretty much it. This is combat. Combat, pretty simple. Just roll against one another. Your initiative determines who you goes, and attack. I do like the lead system. Lead system is actually pretty neat. Lead system effectively says, let me just open up my thing, is, let's say you have a defense, a defense of 3, and we'll do like a defense of 12, and I roll a 15. I have a lead of +3. That's it. The higher you go over, the more damage you're going to be doing, the more things that you're going to be able to do. It's pretty interesting. I actually kind of like it. It gives you a little bit more encouraging to, like, those fights get a little bit more tense, and it does also allow certain characters to not just be immortal or do, like, twatting damage to each other. Like, oh no, you have 20 health, and I'm going to do 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage, even though if I hit you over. No, you're going to be able to do some decent damage. I'm tired. It's a very standard system. Rapid Fire is actually a very simple game. There's nothing really jumping out of like, wow, look how cool it is. It's like, wow, I want to stun damage. Oh, I want to do healing. I want to do environmental. Like, it's all these very specific things. These ones are done. But Armored Rules is what actually makes the game interesting. However, they also completely ignore another aspect of it. Like, they have to put in a completely different different thing for it, which is situational awareness. Because what the Remnant is that you go into this, it's like a little cave that you neuro-lock yourself into this, that you can kind of see outside of the mech and control its limbs that way. It's not like you don't have like a pilot console or anything. You are psychically connected to the thing. As far as the pilot is concerned, he is the Remnant. And because you have this, your situational awareness is all of your points together. And that situational awareness is going to be important. Very important for every single thing that you fucking do. And here's all your abilities. We have more cutoffs. Yay, you like cutoffs, everybody? This hurt. I'm just coughing my lung up here real fast. Don't worry about that. But yeah, welcome to it cutting off everything again and again and again. This book was infuriating to read. There's also some other weird aspects for it. Like, your armor is always equal to your resist. So pretty much you always want to build your resist because resist is really good and you need to just remove all your damage. And it's like, oh my god. A lot of things, like, they're very much taking a core system. They built a core system for Warbirds. That core system is something they really like, and they want you to remember they like it. Because they're using it for everything here. And this is I think one of the biggest issues when it comes to mech games. Mecha games are vehicles. Mech are things that walk around, they do things, they are operating operationally. And sometimes that fucks with things. Because vehicle rules in any game get a little bit wonky. Out of many games I've seen a few vehicle rules that are just like, oh lord, like they just feel weird. Some games just don't even have them. Like, you get in a vehicle, you get in the vehicle, fuck you. And usually the games that do these the best, vehicle rules the best, are the ones that are built from the ground up for using vehicles. Hence why some of the mech games we already went over are all about doing mechs, and our last two ones here, Payload and Chromestrike, are also about that. This one kind of falls into the first category, unfortunately. This is a game with mechs added on top of it. And they're cool, don't get me wrong. I like the Remnants. I think they're really interesting. The fact that you have to go fast and how fast you can run, and you're trying to shoot each other, you're trying to move around one another. You want to do this is the see. I love this part. Living things have health. Remnants have structure. Mark off damage to the structure. All remnants have 5 points of structure, 1 point of damage resistance every point of armor over 4. So a structure attack with starting remnant with standard 5 structure and 5 armor would look like this. This is cool. I like this. Cool idea. Assault damage is how if you're using melee weapons. Strike damage if you're using guns. But you may notice you don't really get to decide what kind of weapon you're using, because why would you? You're using assault damage, strike weapons, fire traditional bullets, crossbow quarrels, deadly flechettes, explosive shells. These are a little bit narrative on how it comes down to, because this game is, and let me get my right voice. Cinematic role playing. Not role playing, just cinematic role playing. And it's like, oh boy, it's cinematic role playing. Because cinematic role playing usually means we're going to be a little bit Yep, pretty much. It's cinematic role playing tends to be odd. Oh, I will say that. They tend to be a bit strange. And it's mostly because they have to abstract things out more. And because they have to abstract things out more, they tend to be a little bit weird. So you also get things like inspirational and terrifying, that you can't build things normally. You have to build things up your own way. And what's in your initiative? It's plus your situational awareness, your close combat. This is what I mean by your situational awareness is the most important thing about your mech. And these are going to get big. Like, these are going to get like these are going to be 4 or 5. And remember what I said earlier, where these flat bonuses are what makes the game. This is no different. God, this is the most painful one of these. Defense rating, speed plus SA plus motion skill. This defense applies to both close and range combat. You're going to enjoy these splits. You game designers out there, you graphic artists, you're going to enjoy these splits. You're going to suffer along with me. A lot of different options. Like, it's a cool idea. Like, I like the idea of this game, and I think rapid fire could be a fun system to use. I just don't like this. I want to play Remnants. I don't want to play rapid fire. And it feels like this is a rapid fire game with it strapped to the back. And that's unfortunate, because I really enjoy aspects of this game. I enjoy the setting, I enjoy the lore, I enjoy the fact that, how the mechs operate. But it feels like it's a square peg, and you're trying to fit this cool idea in, and you're shaving off all the aspects that could make it a little bit more interesting to shove it inside that square hole. And there are some aspects where it's like, yay, look at all these, all the traits and the focuses thing. This sounds really interesting for a foot fight. Like, if this was Warbirds, then yeah, I kind of understand that the Warbirds thing is here, but it doesn't really feel that great for, like, mech combat. Because once a character starts focusing, you cannot take any other actions. You hit your target with the first shot, the enemy returning fire. Very specific, very interesting, yada, yada, yada. That's kind of all you have to really say. Because you need to focus. Focus is weird, because it's... you focus, you choose to do an action, you loop back around, and if you have high focus, the enemy has to make their turn to kind of decide what they want to do. And they make it out to be like high initiative focus can delay until his opponent starts focusing and attempts to break the target's focus in the current round. He can start a focus himself and launch to a high-powered attack in the next round before his opponent can act, also breaking focus. 2 regular attacks at the beginning of his round and next before his opponent acts. Initiative plays a big part in this game, and there are some very odd interactions, what they kind of address here, because the entire idea of focus is that if I want to do something interesting, let's say I want to do a precise strike, I want to bang Poppy right in the head from across, from 400 yards away, I have to spend focus, and that's like, oh, focus 2, I have to spend 2 turns of me aiming and shooting. But you can be disrupted depending on where you are in the initiative order, and you can change your initiative order with the delay action, side actions. I like this. It's interesting, just laid out very poorly. And we've also, this is one thing I also hate as well. This is character creation, and we are 45 pages into this 117-page document. Very standard stuff. You've got a lot of, standard, like, here's some who you are, why you operate the way you are you this way, are you that way, here, assign your stats, here's what your stats look like, do you enjoy them, please clap, here's some skills, wowzers, they're skills. And you don't really actually have, like, you have a few skills that are standard stuff, but none of these really play into mech stuff very often, unless you play like your Remnant skills, your modified character situational awareness, which is equal to their body plus mind plus spirit, which is going to be 1 to start off with. That's just what it's going to be. You're going to have 1, but you're going to build that up. And that's pretty much it. Choose your advantages and disadvantages, and those can be anything. You choose what it is, and you choose if it is minor or major. That's it. It's good to have both, because if you have both, you can gather points and you can do some cool things, and everyone's happy. Why can't I love this game? That's the odd thing. Why can't I love this game more than others? Why am I so annoyed by this game? I'm annoyed by Remnants because I want to do more. I want more stuff. I like all the options here, but it sounds very standard, and it's very simple for the Remnants. The actual name of the game, it seems very on top of things. It gets cutouts. It feels like this entire game is built on top of another game, rather than being its own entity. You have the rapid fire system, and we're shoving mechs in. We're just kind of shoving mechs in there and saying, enjoy yourself, have fun, fuck you. And the fact that, like, the actual Remnants have to play by the rules of that, and they have their own standard assortment here, and, well, here's removing armor. Like, you can do little modifications, but not really much. Because why would you? And you have all these cool traits. Like, yeah, cool traits. These are awesome. I really like these. But they don't really do anything. That's the problem. They don't really do anything. It's, you eventually be able to customize it deeper. You upgrade your abilities, your powers, your drones. You get all these cool options with it. But it takes time, and these aren't really that interesting, relatively speaking. for what it is. To have fun, please do not resist the fun. To a degree, it feels like the game is... I want to do more stuff with it. I want more options for the Remnants. I want Remnants to feel more important. I want Remnants to allow me to tweak it. Because, come on, people. I have effectively a self-repairing, biomechanical, giant robot from an ancient culture, and I'm a crazy warrior person who barely understands civilization at this point. I pilot this thing around using my neural mind link. But this is it? This is it? Man, I was expecting something more from this. Something bigger, something grander. But it really isn't getting that. It feels, again, a part on it to just say, this is here, this is what it is. Choose this, you're building bonuses on something on top of this. It feels like you're not really playing the Remnants as much as you are playing the rapid fire system with a Remnants expansion. Some people like that. I want something more. I am a person who writes specific games, and specific games are what I like to do. Advancing structure, recovery time, it's suicidal bravery, specialties, duress. Duress is interesting because pretty much it's the more you actually undergo, the more problems you get, the more duress you build. The more duress you get, more often that you can use to improve yourself. And you are breaking down, you can spend the advancement by spending duress on various traits. That's how you level up, is by doing cinematic things with it. And that's cool, because the idea is you're neural linking with a giant robot that's kind of doing things to protect you more. Come on! You can build an entire game around that concept. Just that alone, no rapid fire system or anything. Hey, this giant robot is adapting to you, what you do. Do you wanna do something else? Oh, are you hanging back? You're taking pot shots? Yeah, your mech is gonna accommodate you for that because it knows that's what you want to do. So it's gonna keep building itself like that. Oh, you're in melee combat, bruh. Bro, we've been shooting for the past 20. We've been shooting for the past 2 months. I'm built around shooting. I can't even fight in fist-to-fist combat. And that could be a really interesting idea, but it doesn't really do that as much. Even down to things like your duress has to be changed using you can spend your duress to get traits on just changing your appearance, changing your size, the more structure you get. I like this idea. I want more of these things. But it feels like it has to kind of break down the very simple systems, and it's things like cost 5 duress, you increase your strike damage for assault damage. Oh. Increase this, increase like these little tiny things instead of like, man, I really want to do something crazy with these. They seem very safe. They're very safe options for what's being kind of proposed. And that sucks. I think this game could have been really cool. And maybe in the expansions, they add in more things. I'm hoping they actually do, because I like the game. I like the game. I don't hate it. I don't love it either. But I want more for it. I want more options. I want more tools. I want more playthings. And there's a lot of cool ideas here, but come on. You can be a little bit more exciting than this. And generally, that's kind of my opinion on Remnants. Cool game. Great idea. Love the themes. Love the concepts. Wish there was more wish there was more mech. aspects to it. I wish there was a lot more mecha and a lot more playing around with those systems that are already there. Like, the systems are there. The idea is there. You have the lore, you have the story, you have all the concepts here. The problem is the system just keeps strangling it. And maybe they were just afraid to kind of break out of their system. Maybe they didn't want to break out of the system. I don't know. And that's kind of my sad part there. So, Payload is the next game we're going to be going over. Now, I'm not going to go actually too far into Payload. The reason I'm not going to go too far into Payload is because Payload technically isn't done yet. Payload is a game that actually originated on, I believe, TG on the Mecha Monday threads. It's Armored Core. You like Armored Core? I like Armored Core too. Game is very simple. You roll a number of d10s. This is your dice pool. Try to hit something. It is a variable TN system. So let's say, for example, I have three d10s. Get out my d10s here. And I just need to hit whatever the difficulty rating is. So if I have the difficulty rating of 8, I rolled a 9. I succeed. Ta-da! That's it. So your difficulty rating can be anything from 6 to 10. That's it. It's a pretty standard game, a very safe game, and I really enjoy it because the entire game is built around doing one very specific thing. Committing ultra-violence. And that ultra-violence is against other mechs. I want to see more of this game, though. Because right now, this is what you're getting. Now, one thing about this game that is somewhat annoying, actually incredibly annoying, is it is primarily in this document right here. This is the core rules sheet for everything that you could be looking at. Here are all your ace creation tools. Here are all of your damage trackers. Because, yeah, every single part, because there are different damage trackers. You know, here's where all your corporate alliances, and like who's kind of working with who, and like, well, if you're with, you know, the allied guys, you can't really take any of your enemy parts because you're not that much of a dick. If you're working with Merc, God, if you're working with Merc, ugh. God, you really think you can work with Axis on that? Ugh, I don't know about you. Oh, Damaki, oh man, Damaki and Ball, oof, you're gonna get into a fight if you propose that. And there's lore here, and I like that. Like, you get all the cool ace creation stuff, and there's like a bajillion actual parts that you can actually put on your ace, your mech. You have different hard points, you have different weapon features. Yes, each weapon can also be customized with different mods to make them do something different. And then each character has different character equipment. There's different mods for each character equipment. There's different character mods. There's different vehicles, and each vehicle has different sets of requirements and different modifications and different. There's a lot of options. I realized I wasn't in the right sheet the entire time. You have a lot of options in this game, and I like that aspect of it. It's only in version 3, which is one of the reasons why I'm not going to go over, like, man, this game, why doesn't this game have literally everything in it, or why isn't it perfect? It's because it is version 3. Out of how many versions, I don't know. But this game is not simple, nor is it complicated. It's a fairly standard game. You have all your, your affinities and complications. I actually really enjoy these aspects. Now, I actually did make a sample character for this. I didn't finish him up, though, so I'm not going to show him. But I really enjoy this aspect of the game, to be honest. Very simple. It's very to the point. Your pilot still means something. You can actually do some pretty meaty, cool stuff with your pilot. I wish there was a little bit more here, a little bit more than, mind you, because they're very simple. They're very to the point. You have 122 marks, go to town. You're going to start building the things, because this is where the meat of the game is. The meat of the game is for designing your mech. And by designing your mech, we're going to design it. And every single thing is going to be about it. So, if we go here. So, this is Ace Creation. Just to give you an option. Yeah, well, you have to pick some common features. Okay, once you get done with the common features, then you go to unique features, which you can have as many common features as you want, just the same as as many unique features as you want. Don't forget to make sure you also are checking the corporate logos right to make sure your maintenance isn't too high, because if your maintenance is too high, what are you doing? Are you insane? And then you have your frame features, but your frame, you also need that frame depending on where you're how you're designing yourself. And then you're also going to have to deal with other things. Well, you need a head, and that's important. You got your arms, make sure your arms have the right things on them, make sure your legs have the right things. God, you don't have extra storage chest in your torso? What are you, insane? You want to die out there? You want to get blown the fuck up? There are a lot of things in this game, and each of them kind of cost money to do different things. Because you need things like, you need a drive engine, you need an engine, you need a computer, you need armor, you need everything in this game. You always need more in it. One thing I do not like about this game, though, is you get a certain amount of money, but that money isn't real. See, this 120, that's not actually 120. You're most likely going to end up with about, probably more in the line of about 80. 80 to really design your mech, and that's not a lot. That's really not a lot, because you're going to need a lot more tools to actually make things work, and you have to buy your guns, and you need to buy all your secondary equipment, and you need to buy all that. You're starting that may seem like a lot of money. You may seem like you have a lot of options in this game, and you do later, unless you go for like a light one. But yeah, you need to purchase your vital systems, you need to choose your core and unique features. I wish these were a little bit either factored into the initial cost, even as like very simple computer, very simple engine, very simple drive, into here. Because right now, that 120 doesn't feel like that much after you go through all this and you're like, oh, I have 5,000 left and I can buy nothing. Cool. Yeah, you do start with really simple parts, but it kind of takes away that aspect a little bit early on where you're looking at your parts. You're like, wow, look at all these cool options. You don't really get those cool options. You can think you do, and you can technically buy them, but you really shouldn't buy them. So it's like, how's the best way to say it? You're pretty much handed a menu of everything that you can have, but you can't have. You're like, no, you can only select these very small amounts. That's just a me thing, though. I like it when you have like, here's some like, this is what your starting ace, this is what your starting, mech is going to look like. Not, well, here's all these different vital systems that you have to buy. Oh, you wanted all these things that you thought you wanted before. No, you don't. You're getting lower ones. That was the problem that I was having with my mech, because I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy all these things that seem useful, kind of like to design my mech a little bit more, but like, no, you don't really get to do that. And these are your characteristics, your attributes, your characteristics, your customization, and I like these. I like Payload. I think it's a cool game. I think it's a really cool idea with a lot of cool aspects to it. It does have that degree of TG autism to it, though. And that TG autism is something that we've all kind of seen before. And it's here. It tells you all about it. Here you gotta remember your deployment initiative and your group initiative and your individual initiative, and then all your different actions, because it uses an action point system. And your action points are more dependent on like your mech size and different options that you have. And I like the ideas. There's a lot of cool aspects to this game. There's a lot of awesome, interesting things for it that just need patchwork. And that's why, again, it's kind of hard to go over a game like this, because it's version 3. Yeah, starting mecha to pick that and then customize your gear from there. Like, here's a starting mecha, you can pay 100 grand to get this and all these options. Choose a core mechanic, choose some calming stuff, choose a unique thing to kind of tinker with it a little bit more, and you're done. I think that would be better to get people kind of in. Because right now, this is kind of falling into what happened to a few games I've gone over on the series before, including things like Doro Nai Nui. With Doro Nai Nui was built early to design its very specific thing, which is Bionicles and such. But the community kind of just started designing it the way they wanted to do it and nothing else. And slowly, everything was built around that. I don't want that to happen to Payload. I don't want no one to be able to play Payload except people who play Payload. I don't want that. And I'm probably going to tell the Payload guys, being like, this is what I noticed. This is what I think you should do. I don't know if you guys are going to do it. Just don't fall into this trap. Because I see so many projects do this. And it sucks when it happens. Because nobody else can really play it. Because you look at it like, oh man, I don't want to play this game now because there's so many different options that I don't understand. I don't understand all the intricacies to it. Because there are some cool ideas. Again, I love jet boosting. I love the fact that, you have all the cool different movement ideas. This is very Armored Core. You can kind of call this the continuation of Chromestrike in a way. We'll get over the Chromestrike in a minute, but I like aspects of Ace. I think the setting is a little bit weak, but I think the setting is kind of just there for right now. Doesn't really need to do it. Damage is really fascinating, though, and I want to kind of go over damage for a second. Pretty much, as you take damage, your damage is, well, things are happening. You can resist the effect. Like, okay, the Ace takes 2 heat, you can resist that effect, you're not taking 2 heat. Hardpoint items being disrupted. Oh no. And anytime you hit this threshold, it's going to happen regardless. You gain a breach token. Something is broken inside of you. Oh no. And like, oh no, breach tokens. Oh no, things are breaking down. I'm breaking down. Parts of my mech are blown open now and exposed. And you're not going to succeed at all of these. And there are some which are pretty damn scary, which are things, such as, let me see, where's the yeah, like, if you hit 61 damage, your hardpoint, your Ace is wrecked. Like, you're not getting up. You are on the ground and you are dying. But you can still take more damage. Including 70 plus, which is roll a d10. Anytime you take above 70 damage from there, roll a d10. Your power system is destroyed. On an 8 plus, you just explode. I actually really like the damage system. I think this damage system should be adapted to more things, actually, because I think it's a really cool idea. And does get across the Armored Core idea a little bit more. But I think Chromestrike does it a smidge better. That's my thing. I think Chromestrike does it better in a way I like a little bit more. But I really enjoy the way Payload does it. And again, I want to see more of it. There's a lot of these damage effects, and all of these this is very much a token-based game. This is more of a war game than a role-playing game in some aspects. Because you're going to be handing out tokens. It's going to be like, oh, hey, you have a breach token. Oh, reduce your armor by 1 token. Oh, you have the cock breach. You have cockpit breach. You're exposed. You're gonna die probably. You have all these little tokens, and you have all these little effects going on. I've heard of people playing Payload, and some people love Payload when they play it. Being like, I've had a ball, it's super fast, it's super deadly, things are going on. Cool, I'm down. I'm glad people are enjoying it. That's kind of my thing. I'm really glad people are enjoying this game. I just want a little bit more, I want things to be a little bit more cleaned up. And obviously a little bit prettier, because this is just a plain white document. Hence why we have Innocent Doge over here, just to make sure we have a little bit of color on here. But it's good. there's some narrative aspects I wish could be cleaned up just a smidge, but I want to see Payload better, but also keeping it. How do I want to word this? I want more options. I want a bunch more options because there's already quite a bit of tools and knickknacks and little things that you can tweak and change inside of the game itself right now. But I think having more of those, maybe being a little bit more interesting, kind of fluffing out the companies and their specific things a little bit more. Because I want to be a merc mech. I want to have all the merc stuff and be really cool, and I want to slap my corporate logo on there and, pose for the cameras kind of thing. I think that would be kind of neat. Because it gives me a little bit more personality, it gives me a little bit more ideas, and things are cool. I like it when things are cool. Right now, that's not really a thing, and it might just be because it's early. Even down things like, networking isn't really a thing. Because you also kind of make it a point where you're famous into a degree. I think that could be a fun way of doing it. That as an ace pilot, you're really cool. You have your different, living standards, and you want to be rich, and you want to be famous, and you want to get all these cool stuff. I like the idea. I like everything about it is cool. I want things to be cleaned, though. I want this to be a very clean and very elegant document. And right now, it isn't really that. It's version 3. And it's free, mind you. If you want to play Payload right now, you can go to them and you can get the game. And I encourage it. So, I think the final game we're going to be going over is Chromestrike. Chromestrike is a tragic entity in some aspects by Duke Fluffy Productions. Now, what is Chromestrike? What is this game? Chromestrike. Actually, I forgot I had to do 1d4chan.org because they removed it from Google. It's Armored Core and Chrome Hounds. It's based off a very specific kind version of the game, and you're doing what you're doing. You select perks, your rule books, it's maps, it's fighting, very fast, very quick. And Duke, let me see, Duke Fluffy Productions, is that the right way of spelling it? Or, yeah. Let me find that. Duke Fluffy Productions. Duke isn't really doing much anymore with it, because he has Tower Girls, otherwise known as Let's Print Money. Yeah, this is Tower Girls. It's Tower Girls, alright. I need to go over this entity in general one day, just because it's a very weird thing to even acknowledge it exists. Because I remember when this thing first started. I remember the first, few shitposts about Tower Girls, but now it's this entire thing. It has lore, it has Sir Knight is here, everyone is set up together. It's okay, then. There's this entire... What is this anymore? What is this? But yeah, that's Tower Girls. That's what he's been mostly working on. To give you the idea of how much he cares about Chromestrike, he has the Lorem Ipsum default. Tower Girls was kind of a microcosm of just weird shit on the internet that someone just kind of kept going. And it just continued and continued and continued and never stopped continuing. And everyone looks at Tower Girls and be like, oh yeah, I remember Everyone says, yeah, I remember Tower Girls. But nobody ever cares about tower. Like, it's very bizarre. It's like BroQuest. You ever remember BroQuest? I remember BroQuest. Like, I wonder if I can still find it. Yeah, we're not. Time to get distracted. We're finding ancient TG lore. Yeah, okay, here's BroQuest. Like, way back in the day. Like, this was the thing. Everybody loved BroQuest. Yeah, fucking Reddit, of course. And yeah, remember all this stuff? I thought these were pretty cool. Like, I like the artwork, you know, it was kind of interesting. There's some fun characters all around here. I'm like, all right, all right. I remember. I remember. Yeah, they really care about people drawing princesses. That's kind of what Tower Girl is kind of broken down into. And I mean, the power of waifus is already a powerful and terrifying entity to even deal with. And you're going to enjoy it. TG stuff is secondary, which is kind of sad because he's focused most everything on Tower Girls at this point. And thing is, he makes money. He has a Patreon. Duke Fluffy is making about almost $600 a month to make Tower Girls, the game. Technically, it's under Chivalric Games, but I'm like, all right. I mean, we got things here. Like, shine on, man. He's doing work. He's got what he wants. And I admire that of him. I admire that quite a bit. You know, there's a degree of, I would say, like, you know, work on Chromestrike, but you can't really do much. But so that's the author, that's the writer of Chromestrike. But what is Chromestrike? What is but Chromestrike? Chromestrike is good. Very good. And by that I mean it is a game about Armored Core. You are a jockey. Well, no shit, they're gonna take a long ass time to make the game. They want to milk that shit for as long as possible. Money, 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 money. Like, of course. You want to bring that out as much as physically possible. Like, you spread that out as long as possible to get as much money. I have seen enough porn Patreon, you know, porn VNs on Patreon that make like $4 a month, and they're like, progress report. We've 2% of the dialogue written. It's like, ah, cool. Like, again, they make work again, but we can only. I do what I enjoy, and I enjoy these Chromestrike's worlds. It's Armored Core, it's Armored Core. They can say it's Chromehand, it's Armored Core. No, they go over the basics of it. We all like the basics of it. You don't need figures. That's the big thing. You don't need figures. They do say you can. I don't think you do for this kind of game. And you don't really need it. Mostly because how the game is played, and that's how fast things are going. We're going to skip through all the lore aspects. Lore is fine. Some people are going to like the lore, some people aren't going to like the lore. I am apathetic on it. Also, do you like Samus? Hello, Samus. Your brand new game is apparently very good. See, I'm a good on my Patreon. I don't milk my people at all $6 a month I make. Please subscribe to the Patreon. No, I'm not going to force anyone to ever do that. But characters in Chromestrike are actually fairly simple. They are broken down into 6 attributes: intelligence, perception, appeal, power, agility, and grandeur. Grandeur is weird. Like, it's one of those stats you look at, you're like, I understand what you're doing, but I still think it's stupid. Like, I think they just needed a third one to kind of put it out there. And from there, you select your perks. There are aspects about your character that makes you you. It's like, wow, look, you get combat rolls, you get all these different things. Skills are defined by the player as well. Do I know why they are the way they are? Absolutely not. I think that's a little bit weird with some of them, but they're there. These are all about No, these are your choice, because the pilots aren't really that important. All things I do are free. Same, pretty much, except when people pay me money. If you want a specific game, I always say, you'll pay me money. Let's see, we got our that. Now we get to actually our mech. Now, Chromestrike mech creation is actually very detailed, and I actually really enjoy it. But it's not too detailed. That's the big thing. It's detailed enough where it needs to be, but never overly so. You know, you have your derived parts, your base parts, and then you calculate your initiative. Your initiative is very important in this game, as it's kind of determining how fast you're moving, as well as where you're going, how you're dodging, how you're actually being able to not get hit, because getting hit in Armored Core would kill you. you are going to die very quickly if you don't. And it's pretty ruthless in that regard. And here's all our characters. You know, this is what a fairly standard a character in Chromestrike is going to look like. And I like it. Chromestrike is really good. It's really well put together. You have all the little options you want in it. The only issue with Chromestrike, the biggest little bugbear with Chromestrike, the parts that really sink its teeth into you, that makes you think, oh goodness, oh no, is that it does its one thing and that's it. You want to do anything other than what it wants you to do? No, don't do that. You're silly. Stop being a silly boy, because that's not what you're supposed to do. You are supposed to play the way it wants you to play, and you're going to enjoy it. You're going to select your correct, select your head to make the exact way you want your head to be like. You're going to select all the things that you need, what your chassis looks like, what's this look like, what's this look like. You're going to select everything you want to do, and you're going to play Armored Core, and you're going to enjoy it. Because this is very good. Because that's the thing. This game is very good at what it does. Damage is fast. People are scary. Things are going fast, and you will die if you go slow. But if you think you can play Gundam in this game, no. You're not playing Gundam in this game. Can you play Titanfall in this game? No. You're not playing Titanfall in this game. You're playing Armored Core, or Chrome Hounds. Those are the two you are playing. You are not playing anything else. And I think some people get really turned off by that when it comes to a lot of these mech games, is that they are very purpose-built. You are not playing anything other than what it wants you to play. And there's a good thing about it, and there's a bad thing about it. Most of the time, it's debatable. Pretty much the fact is, combat is broken down into movement, utility, and end phases. Your movement phase is when you're moving. Your utility phase is every single thing else. Yes, everything. It's things about line of sight. Line of sight is not, required by particular range or by particular weapons. Some weapons have unlimited range. You need to do things during this phase, and it's a very simple game. Like, don't ever think that this isn't. There's a lot of rules to do those particular things, though. And I think some people get turned off by that. I think some people don't get turned off by it. It really depends on who you are. Is Chromestrike a rules light game? Yes and no. Chromestrike is a rules-specific game. There are no rules in this game that are for things that it doesn't care about. There are no boat rules in this game, for example. That's kind of it. I usually use that as the kind of the funny haha example, but there are no boat rules. There are no rules for piloting a boat at all, or there's no rules for doing anything that is not related to doing Chromestrike stuff. And I think that's one of the big problems with this game, to some, why it may not be your particular game. You want to play Chromestrike to put it in your own setting? No, not really. You're going to be playing Chromestrike. The fact that, your mechs go down that quickly. The fact that, when you're aiming, you have to do all these. You're playing Chromestrike. Now, Melee is both really useful and really not useful at the same time. Like, you can do a lot with Melee, but not as much as you would want. But at its core, you are making attacking, and you want to dodge more than anything. Your roll is higher than a target's dodge rating, they are struck and might take damage. Should they roll high enough before modifiers, attack may critically strike, doing bonus damage. That's it. Shoulder weapons are less accurate and have less degree of freedom, yet are armored and self-embedded. Here's your attack rating, always round up. If you're doing held weapons, you're doing shoulder weapons, you're doing melee weapons, if you're doing missiles. All these, very cool. We like that. It's fun. But, again, do I want to play Chromestrike, or do I want to play my own setting? If I want to play my own setting, you're not using Chromestrike. You are using something else, which is always kind of the iffy part. There's also the dodge rules. Like, a lot of these games, when it comes to Armored Core inspired games, it's that you want to do... You're usually dodging. Dodging is important. Dodging is kind of like, if you want to put in the D&D terms, it's your AC. If you hit that, you're fucked. Don't get hit. And let me see. Damages are... I like damage. Here's the thing. I really like damage in this game. Because it's sectional. I think sectional damage is really important with mech games. Because it's like, yeah, hey, my arm is 50% damaged. Well, yeah, I'm down health. Things are going wrong. Oh no, my chassis is destroyed. Oh no, my legs are going down. Oh no. Oh no, things are going wrong. Oh no. But anything outside of that, not really important. None of this aspect means jack diddly shit. And technically, you can play it as a war game. Don't bother. I mean, you can if you want. I've heard it's good. But Chromestrike is kind of an interesting duck, because Chromestrike is good. Chromestrike's really damn good at doing its one very specific thing. If you try to make Chromestrike do anything other than what it was designed to do, it's going to fight you. It's going to fight you a lot. It also has the unfortunate issue of not being done. Nor will it ever quite be done. Because if we see up here, if we go all the way up, first edition, wow! This isn't actually the first edition. This is beta 0.9.88. It has been beta 0.9 for about 6 years now. Will we ever get a new version of Chromestrike? No. Have I heard that there are people who want to do more stuff with Chromestrike, who are, have their own homebrew communities and stuff for it? I've heard of it. I've seen it. I have never seen it work, if that makes sense. I've never seen someone like, here it is, time for my Chromestrike game on Mecha Monday. No, people, if you're on Mecha Monday, you're not really doing that. Did the mech thread die? I think the mech thread died. That's hilarious. Yes, the mech thread died That's hilarious and very sad at the same time. But yeah, no one ever goes into Chromestrike saying, yeah, Chromestrike, we're gonna play the fuck out of this. No, you're not. It's kind of it's Chromestrike is a relic of TG Past, and there's actually um, Chromestrike was actually going to be a part of the TG Dusty Shelf Curious Case for a while. For a very long time, it was. But people kept like, "What about Chromestrike? What about Chromestrike for the Mecha game?" I'm like, "Okay, I'll do it." And I kind of wanted to end off on Chromestrike just because I want everyone to realize, I want everyone to remember that all of these games are like 5 years old, of like the actual legit big games are like 5 years old minimum. Chromestrike is, I think, is 5 at this point. 4 or 5. Like, all these games are older. And because they're older, they have such a different way of looking at things. Even one game, which I don't think I'm gonna go over just because we're 2.5 hours in and I'm really tired. I might save it for another one, but give me 1 second, I'll put it in here real fast. Like, this is Lunar Reckoning 69, beta 2.5. Cool game, cool idea. Interesting set of mechs and a little bit more, not quite, I wouldn't say quite armor core. Its combat is really fast, it's really deadly, things are going fast, and you kind of have these more like set up ones that you're allowed to do some minor tweaking to. It's like, oh, cool, I like it, cool idea, a lot of charts, a lot of things. When was Lunar Reckoning? 2011. Free open beta. 2012. These games are old. And that's kind of the tragedy of mecha RPGs, I think. I think that's one of like the distinctive tragedies of this particular genre, is that mecha games have a very bad tendency of being niche. They're very particular, and the people who want to play them are the people who make them, and no one else. And in recent years, we haven't really seen a big mecha game come out until Lancer, which Lancer was designed to be for people who didn't like mechs. Which does say something. It really does say something about the entire, genre of things. Being like, well, shit. One of the most successful mech games in the entire, in the last 10 years is built from the ground up for people who don't like it? What? What? And the Lancer has its own set of issues. I went over Lancer in my Lancer video, which I'm gonna probably do a shit post about it. What? Why? What? It. I'm curious. What? Why? What? Hmm. Lancer was effectively made for people who don't like mecha. They don't like, for people who don't like that, like the tweaking and the pretty much all the projects we went over. All of those were autism projects. With Payload, you can customize your mech quite a bit with different companies, different ideas. You're tweaking. Chromestrike, customize your mech to make it the way you want. Bliss Stage, Evangelion. It's all of those games had very specific things that made it mech. It's a mecha game. It is mechs, robot going Yes. So made for those who think mecha look good but don't want to bother on what actually mecha games are. To a degree, yes. Yes. Because overall, like things with like Lancer, its design is very showy, but if you really break it down, Lancer mechs are very specific. You are building it from little parts, where you are. The way I never really liked Lancer is because it felt like I was when I was making a character, when I made a sample character for myself, I finished making my sample character, and it felt like I was playing a video game. I was selecting my little cards, I built my licenses up, I got all my licenses, and I put my little things in to make all my little slots good. And I looked at it, I'm like, I didn't really build a mech as much as I, like, built a, like, here's my Tesla core reactor. I'm like, oh, it does 3d6 Tesla damage. Okay, cool. And it's kind of built onto itself. Like, Lancer's mechs didn't really appeal to me. Chromestrike's mechs appealed to me. Payload's mech appealed to me. Even, I was going to originally go over Gear Creek, but Gear Creek had its own issues. But, like, it didn't really appeal to me. And that was one of the things that with Lancer that kind of bummed me out. Is it's for people who don't much care for that kind of mechanic way of looking at things. Hell, even Remnants. I like the idea of Remnants, but Remnants didn't like me. It wanted to do something else, which sucks. It really does suck. Just because there isn't... I think in the future, we're going to find a point where there's going to be mecha games. There's going to be rules light mecha games. There's going to be rules heavy mecha games. But will we see a mecha resurgence? I don't think so. I think mech games are going to be kind of perpetually condemned to specific parts. This is the BattleTech game. This is the heavy gear game. And the BattleTech guys don't like the heavy gear guys. They have completely different ways of looking at things. These guys, the Armored Core guys, they're going to do their own thing. They have their own games. Titanfall guys, they got their own games. There's not going to be really like a mecha game for mecha guys who like mechs. Which is kind of its own tragedy. That's why I went over these games. That's why I went over so many different games today. Because I wanted to show people that there are a lot of different kinds of things, but a lot of them have been kind of condemned to either rules light or these rules dense, really customizable things that sometimes don't appeal to people. Sad, isn't it? Really sad, actually. Makes me sad. But what can you do? So, we're at that stage of the weekend where we get to lose our mind on Kickstarter. Who's ready for Kickstarter fun? Not me. We do. I did look on it the other day. We do have some fun ones on here because, yes, we're gonna have a few heads on pikes, but heads on pikes are what makes things fun, right? Everybody likes that. So, anything fun and exciting in the in the Kickstarter sphere at all? Not really. Like, nothing is really like jumping out as things like with Kopesh. Wasn't this a relaunch? This was a relaunch. I could have swore I've seen this game before. I know for a fact I've seen this game before. No, okay, that's interesting. So let's see. Another fantasy football team. These guys have been making these forever. I really enjoy them. Shine on you, crazy bastards. That's all you can really do. Ooh, a board game convention. Oh boy, where's this taking place? We like board games conventions. Sierra Nevada. Oh god. I don't want to go to the Sierra Nevada. We got a TCG showing up. We've got a lot of fucking nothing. Oh boy. Food-themed 5e adventure. Food-themed. Wait a second. No, we did end it. We gotta do newest. Oh god, that's not good. Kaput. No. Oh, great. Our boy is back, everybody. It's Medic. Our boy is back. Venger is back, everybody. He's at it again with more Chalt. I respect this man. Like, he just keeps VengerCon. Oh, wow. Oh, wow, oh, wow. Wowsy, wowsy. Shine on, brother. Shine on, Crazy Diamond. Yeah, it's been a pretty dull. Like, nothing really new has popped out. There's a Savage Worlds game. I'm like, okay, that seems fun, but it's Savage Worlds, so, I mean, it's not... Oh. It's literally just Pinnacle. It's literally just Pinnacle to do this. It's... Oh. I'm a little less surprised now. I'm not as in as I once was. Let's see, we got nothing much. Like, it's very quiet. Oh yeah, the Iron Kingdoms game. Yeah, the Iron Kingdoms game. Jesus Christ Almighty, they got money. They're in the fucking money. OSR, okay, OSR Zine, Zine or Zine? I say Zine. Magazine, is that right? I think so. Who cares? Let's see, what else we got? Oh yeah, we got Starfinder for 5e, by the way. 100-page campaign setting adventure guide. Spacefaring adventure inspired by pulp magazines. Wow, you like Space 5e with... Oh man, I love me some legally distinct Lombaxes. Why does every you know what, we're gonna... There we go. Yeah, legally, I don't know why every race is like, all these space games always have to have the legally distinct Lombax. I'm like, Ratchet and Clank was good. I liked Ratchet and Clank. Not everyone needs Ratchet and Clank. Like, not every single goddamn one of these needs it. But every single one of them do. Without a doubt. Every single one of them always does. Harambe's Revenge. Oh, Jesus. Is Harambe still a meme? I don't even know if it is. Wow, like, it's really nothing. Ah, Maria de Jesus, my beloved, still making super waifu sex. I'm still amazed she hasn't been just like completely gatted for trying that. So Frostmark RPG. Frostmark, I've heard of Frostmark before. Oh yeah, Frostmark was the game. Oh. And it's overhaul of 5th edition. See, it's not just furries. Furries are their own thing. It's always Lombaxes. It's always the Lombax. Like, they're always Ratchets. Every single one of them. Is he just popular or something? Is he just popular in the furry community? I don't know. I'm genuinely curious. And this is just 5e. Oh, wow. I've decided to modify another role-playing system instead of building one from the top to bottom. The basic balance always been tested extensively. It would take a lifetime for a single person to finish the project. Who are you? Frostmark. Frostmark. Yeah, okay, so you are the main person running things. You weird baby-faced woman. Do you type anything? What have you done? Like, July 19th, July 7th, June 17th, Power Gap. What the fuck are you? Who are you? Is Frostmark popular? Like, Frostmark Twitch? Is Frostmark popular? I've never heard of these guys. Yeah. Yeah, it's time to... Oh, I'm getting a phone call. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Ah, I'm alive. Hey, literally, this is just the LA Noire soundtrack. That's all this is. It's just the LA Noire soundtrack. Because LA Noire had a fantastic soundtrack. Anyone who says otherwise is wrong. But I don't even think Frostmark is that. What is the Frostmark RPG? Is this popular? Okay, I'm going to ask the consortium here real fast. Has anyone heard of or watched Frostmark? So we'll sit on that because I'm curious right now because it hasn't really gone anywhere. because they need 12 grand. They effectively need 12 grand. What they're looking for is 10,000 euros. And they only got 4.5. They pretty much have 4.5 grand right now. It's Swedish. That explains it. Goddamn Swedes. Why must the Swedes ruin everything they touch? Now this is the one that kind of boggled my mind. This is Tournament Arc. GM-less, experience, space hyper basketball, dizzying heights. Oh wow, look at all these cool sports stuff. I fucking hate sports RPGs. I despise sports RPGs. Because it's never... It is never a sports RPG. It's never about a sport. It's always about, like, something way bigger than that. Oh god, it's a fucking token one. It's a token-based one. Wait a goddamn second. What have you done? Tell me. It's gonna be like Henshin, isn't it? Yeah, it's like Henshin, isn't it? Now, the one that really boggled my brain here, the one that kind of threw me for a fucking loop, is that this is a tournament game. This is a game about sports, a sports anime game. This, too, is a sports anime game called Fight with Spirit. It's a sports drama RPG, and this one is a sports anime RPG. Which is, again, also a non-committed sports TM rather than sport. Which always baffled me there aren't many. It's about dating and relationships. Of course it is. That's what 95% of these damn things are. It's odd. This one's like a weird card game, though. Yeah, because it's like a weird, it's like a card game almost, because you have like cards and you have to kind of determine what you're doing, and like, you know, your trait cards, your condition cards, your character sheets. Like, this doesn't look like a fucking character sheet. This looks like a goddamn character folio. Unique match games. I'm like, what the hell? Momentum. What are these? This is not is this a role-playing game or is this a board game? Like, this looks like a board game to me. That really, like, it's weird to me. But both of these came out at, like, roughly the same, like, this one succeeded, and then, like, the day after this one hit its goal, this one came out. Which... Games Workshop does it again. See, the odd thing with this one is I actually thought these were the same game, because I'm like, oh, wait, didn't you have a different name? Then I saw this, I'm like, wait a second. Wait a moment. Hold up. Hold the fuck up. And it kind of hit me with a metal bat, you could say. It was like, wait a second, this is a completely different game with its own completely different set of rules, different set of ideas. It's also GM-less. I don't even know if this one even has a GM at all, or if it's just going to be entirely GM-less as well. Am I saying Tournament Arc launched solely because Fight with Spirit hit its goal? Yes, very much so. Because these guys have done a few games that are interesting. They've done, like, Good Society and, you know, Last for This Awful Seat. Like, they've done a few weird games that kind of... Is this an RPG? I don't know. According to my own definitions, no, it is not a tabletop role-playing game. But it also does its own thing. Like, I don't even know what you would really call this kind of genre. Like, it's not quite a tabletop game, but it's not quite not a tabletop game. What have you backed? Tell me. Biscuit Fun. What have you done, Biscuit Fun? You've done fuck all, is what you've done. You've done goblins. Goblins. Yeah, they've done a few games. They've backed a few games, but nothing... Blood in the Banquet. What is this? RPG about Chinese immigrants running a family restaurant. Is that a role-playing game? Or like... What is this? What is this? What is this genre? What would you call this genre? What ink game? Like... Revised and reprinted. Wilderness horror setting rulebook compatible world modes. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Never going home. Yeah, they're the ones who did Never Going Home. Which is also a weird game that is maybe or maybe not a... This world. What are you? What are you, company? What would you even call these kind of games? Like, because it's like a very much a set story, and I guess you are role-playing it. But are you really role-playing? That's a weird one. I got it. That calls for an investigation unto itself, mind you. Because I get fascinated in some of these games. Every now and again I find something, I'm like, I need to find more about it. I need to understand and I need to see. Yeah, remember Acquisitions Incorporated? I remember Acquisitions Incorporated. Federation, the Phantom, the card game. Magic dice. I actually know this person who did this one. Smunchy. He's the one who said that technically... he's the one who said a bunch of things that were physically wrong about, you know, how copyright law works. Fun fact. We call him dumb. Or, I mean, I guess he's a nice guy. He just gets things wrong. And thinks he's really smart. And I kind of want to punch him in his stupid face. Freedom Squadron? Why does it sound familiar? Freedom Squadron. Oh, it's Savage Worlds. And it's Savage Worlds. We all like Savage Worlds, right? Everyone clap. Goblonia. Goblins. Goblins. We got the Chew. The Chew game's at 492% funded. Holy shit. I guess it didn't really need much. Like, this one weirded me out. Like, it weirded me out for a few reasons. Because it was just a weird game. It's a weird setting, because the entire idea is that, like, he's like a psychic almost. And he can tell where things have been eaten. Like, it's a very bizarre setting, very interesting setting with some cool ideas to it. This is a weird game to be like, you know what we need? A Forged in the Dark role-playing game of this. It's like, we do? We do, right? No, we don't. Why does this exist? Oh, wait, is that a new game? New game! Oh, cool. Psychic RPG. Alright, I'm in. Oh, espionage. Oh. Remember, my game master in this case refers to the hive mind. Oh. You play Synapse using only the theater of the mind. Okay, with a full miniature setups. No. Cool, cool. What's the system? Choose whether you've grown up with psionic ability or someone who hasn't yet. You will then be thrust into a world that either loves or hates you depending on what side of the line you're standing on, leaving you to walk freely in the open or forcing you to hide yourself in the shadows. Okay, what's the system? You're going to tell me what the system is, right? You're going to tell me. Okay, there we go. D6 dice pool system. All right, characters, attributes, and skills. All right, 10, difficulty. Not exactly the most complicated thing in the world, but I'm okay. Character creation, different method, traditional point buy. Choose your own adventure stories. Okay, that's kind of cool. Series table, determine your parentage. Okay, so it's a life path. You have a life path system. They hit this entire thing to say it's a life path system. That's pretty cool. I like it. A little bit simple. I'm saying this. It's a little bit simple. Idea's a little bit, maybe not the most detailed thing in the world, but you know what? I'm curious about this. This is actually kind of a cool one. I think psionics is always one of those things that never quite get its time in the day, time in the sun. And hopefully we get more. That's kind of cool. Oh, we got a new cinematic experience tabletop role-playing game. Is Control the RPG? Is it Control the RPG? No, I think it's its own kind of thing. Control is more like, what would you call the Control RPG? I guess the SCP game that came out, but even the SCP game's not that good. It's actually terrible. But yeah, it would be kind of, I guess you could probably, could you run in theory a game in that? I guess, but you would be kind of, why would you kind of thing. Vox story, like being in your own movie, but I don't want to be in my, oh. What? Oh. Ooh. Oh. Auto build features. Virtual tabletop is a complete. Oh. It's Minecraft. It's Minecraft. This is Minecraft. It's shitty Minecraft tabletop RPG edition. Wow. Wowzers. I am incredibly disappointed and yet not surprised at all. Wow, that's... Wow, I mean, sorry, my entire body is just rejecting whatever the fuck this is. Kickstarter cosmetics? What? DLC? Physical collector good? What have you made? What are you? Who are you? Why are you the way that you are? Why are you making this? Lex, Luke, so these are the main two guys. James looks like he's given up. I can respect that. What are you doing? Sheena, what do you do? What do you research? Why does everything look... Oh, wait. Wait a second, that's not a tief... Wait, what do they call tieflings? That's a tiefling. It's obviously a tiefling. Oh, they're... They don't have tieflings. They have rages. W-R-A-Gs. E's. Rages. Why? Oh, no. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. I'm in. Hell yeah. Wow, they are not even trying anymore. Wowzers. Oof. Okay, gonna die a little on the... Oh. Oh, hello there. Hello there, darling. What do you... Wait, you need 7,000 pounds for that. You need only 5,000 pounds for this one. What made you cancel for 2,000? What made you... Laptop GM needed. Let's... That's really fascinating. They did cancel that. I wonder what the... That's really weird. That's kind of strange. See, this is what happens when you go down... Yeah. Rages are weird. Like, that's kind of a weird thing to add into your game. But there's a few, like, legally distinct things. 5e. Thankfully, that won't probably... At this rate, that won't get funded. Which I'm okay with. I am okay with that not getting funded. Another fucking 5e game we don't need. It's pretty standard stuff. I mean, a lot of... I really wish there was, like, a thing that you didn't need to... How do I want to word this? I wish there was a separation for all the fucking STLs and all the STL files. I wish that was, like, a separate category. Because there's a lot of STLs. Echo Punk. Okay, Cyber Noir. Cool, cool. Grand Fleet Admiral. Cool, cool. Flower bed building. Oh. See, it's always funny. It's always, actually not funny. It's sad. It's sad when you go down here and then you see things like this. 24 days to go, 5% fund. That's not going to get funded. Survival of the Able is trucking along. Come on, Mr. Wood. I believe in you. I believe in this. Because I saw it. I'm kind of interested in it. Like, I want to see this go. Because it's such a stupid fucking concept. I want to see it play out. It's super fucking stupid. Like, painfully so. But I'm kind of in it. Like, I want to see how it works. I want to see what it looks like. I want to see how it... Because I like the idea of this game. I love the fact that it's accessible for people. I love the fact that, you know, people who maybe aren't able to see things are actually able. Now you must explain the survival of the able. Way back in the day. Back in 2000... God, this would be 15? He actually launched another Kickstarter. This was way back in the day, right, Mr. Wood? So, the thing is, Wood here runs a company which is all about accessible gaming. And this was back in 2019. Okay, this wasn't with us. And by accessible gaming, it's... I'm deaf. What tools are available for people in tabletop role-playing to help them if they cannot hear? Do you just do everything sign language based? But what if you have other players? And if everyone, like, things change. But here's some options to help people. Hey, I'm blind. I physically cannot see. Things get a little bit more complicated when you can't look at your character sheet. What do you do? And I really respect what the guy has been doing. He does a lot of tools for people like that who maybe want to get into this hobby, but kind of like, well, it's hard for me to get into the hobby. And the thing was, he's not combat wheelchair, though. He's more like, hey, this player cannot, this character is, this player is unable to see properly. Here's a bunch of Braille character sheets. Like, here's how you actually, like, do Braille stuff. Or, like, if you want to help them out. Or, like, hey, you want to do this? This is how you can do it. And this is how you can, like, set things up for yourself. Or, hey, here's, like, an audio character sheet where you can plug into, like, your phone or your iPad that can read things out to you while you are doing things. Or, hey, I'm unable to hear. Like, here's, like, here's how you can, as a GM... If a character is, if a player is deaf, how do you help them? It's really cool things like that. Survival of the Able. Survival of the Able had a weird pitch. The entire idea is you are people in medieval France, I believe, who live in the sick houses. Pretty much way back in the day. If you didn't have a leg, you lived in a sick house because you couldn't work. You lived in, these kind of like collective environments to help each other. Because, fun fact, not being able to see was very bad. However, the Black Death come, but the Black Death raises people from the dead. And you must survive with your band of fuck-ups. That was the entire idea. it got nowhere. And I think one of the major reasons why it really didn't go anywhere was because people love to preach diversity. That's kind of the idea. So you die. The idea is that you're kind of like supporting one another. It's like, hey, this guy is blind. He can't really see, but he's probably the smartest person we actually have here. So we need to actually keep him alive. Or like, hey, he can't walk properly. One of us has to carry him everywhere, but our other guy here can barely count to 2. Like, we can work together to... It has an interesting idea of being fundamentally, you are probably the least capable individuals of surviving this. How do you survive this? And I think that's actually really fascinating. But outside of all of the, preaches of like, oh, we love diversity, we love this, people still get really weirded out at disabilities. People get really weirded out. Yeah, they address that. That's the point. Like, you will have a less chances to survive. Yes, correct. You are very correct. And they do some... I think people just get freaked out by it. It's the same thing with, like, how people get, like, really... People get really weirded out with, like, old people. People, really don't like old people very much, and they get freaked out by them. I grew up with people who were a lot older, so I'm not really phased by this. I grew up with people who had pretty serious issues. They're normal people. They operate the same way we do, but I like the idea behind it, but I think people didn't really like the idea either, because it's things like, Jonah de Berkshire, a blind character attacks a zombie with a knife attached to the end of a stick. Prolong Gout with scurvy attacks a zombie with a pitchfork. I like the ideas, I like the concept behind it, but it's curious to see how it actually works. Will it succeed? I do not know. It's got 16 days to go. It needs about $2,000 more. I don't know. Like, I don't know. And I think you're kind of addressing, one of the things that kind of had people stop there for a moment and go, I don't blame people for not wanting it. I'm not going to be like, you guys are bad people for not, like, I understand that very much, so. Hounds of the Czar, what's this? Cool. Okay, what's the system? Yeah, it's a 3d6 roll under. Oh, okie dokie then. Using artwork that isn't really artwork. Cool, like me. Well, let's look at itch. Itch.io can't be that bad, right? Actually, speaking about speaking about Mecha, this is my boy Varric. You may know him. Varric is an autist. I love him to death. He's a very special boy. Sharp Mecha is his game. It's effectively a one-page game. Basic rolls, since you not clear. Commander rolls a deck check, pilot would need a roll. One pilot, one mech stat. Add modifiers in the dice result. If the total result, dice plus between 8 and 11. Check succeed with consequence. Yeah, pretty standard game. Very interesting game. A little bit light for my personal tastes, but I understand why it would be appealing. And I would be interested to see where he takes it, honestly. Like, I would actually want to see where possibly he wants to expand it out. Because I do know, fundamentally, he is doing his own stuff with this game. Also, not Witcher. Hounds of the Czar is more of a historical fiction game. Because they're using a very real thing to do fantasy stuff with. I understand. You can almost call The Witcher based on those guys. interesting idea, weird way of going about it. But yeah, there you go. Welcome. Yeah, this is my boy Varric's game. Check it out. Yeah, I'm gonna actually should I download it? Give him something? Yeah, no, just take me downloads. Paying money. Why would I do that? I hate paying money. But yeah, no, check him out. Check out that mech game. Very fun. Very light though. He does very much subscribe to that philosophy. So let's see what's new on the chopping block. All right, ritual, magic, and high fantasy. Very pretty artwork. Always very pretty artwork. God, reading this is going to be a pain in the ass. Do I want to read? Do I actually want to read this? Probably not. Let's see. Kenzie's project. Miss and the Beast. Morka Borka, Morka Borka, Morka Borka, Morka Borka Borka. Stay a while and listen. Yeah, itch.io is where you get itch.io is where you get things that makes you question why you're doing this. Like, are we here just to suffer? You know, is there a point to all of this nightmare? Or do we live simply in the simulation? Is itch viable post pen and paper RPGs? Yes, no, but perhaps. If you want the best way to just put your work up there, probably yes. It probably is one of the better places to put it. If you want to do it to, like, make money, not really. Because the problem is, itch doesn't really itch does not discriminate on these. Like, for example, let's go to let's go to games, and let's say I want to go. We're gonna, yeah, you see a lot of fucking Squid Game shit going on right here. And we'll do Fear Tape Scrapyard, and there's like a lot of stuff you can do with this. There's a lot of options, and you can kind of break it down a little bit as well. Because, like, here's all the tags and stuff. It's a lot easier to do that. Popular games, like, people label them really weird here. Because, like, oh, it's role-playing in the role-playing game section. Who would have thought? Like, it's, yeah, money. Money, yeah. Posting them, yeah, it's pretty easy. There's a lot of little things you can do. I need to yell at one of my guys, what's his Mon Chop, actually, Chop. I need to yell at him one of these days to teach me how to make itch things pretty, because you can actually do some pretty creative stuff on individual pages. Maybe this isn't a very good one, but usually, like, most pages look like this. Actually, you know what I can do? We go here. We go to my dashboard. Yeah, here's all my stuff. But if I go to, I want to go here. But if I go to, say, there you go, we'll go to these two. Like, this is the way I've set mine up with one of my games. This is Eagles and Rifles. Now, you can set up a lot of things. You can make it look pretty, really pretty. Where's the one? I think you can do some stuff with, is it Sigmata I did stuff with? No. Was it the August Showcase then? No, not the August Showcase. What was the one I did something creative with? I actually felt proud of. Was it Petals in the Wind? Yeah. As you can see, you can do some, like, relatively pretty stuff in these to make them actually look nice. I don't know how to do that very well, but you can. Nothing says you can't do that. But, yeah, money. Money in this industry. Pay me money. Mostly because the Brazilian is yet to pay me. Don't worry. Don't worry, Brazilians. I love all of you. Yeah, we got some... Oh, coloring pages. Yeah, because this is what you have to contend with in the tabletop role-playing sphere of this. Coloring pages. This is just a coloring page. No, you will get drowned out very quickly. You use it as a site to give it to other people. It's kind of like, here's my itch. Like, look at this. Here's this. Here's that. Cool, cool. Oh, yeah. Hey, look, there's me. There's me. All quiet, no peace. Like, a lot of these don't go too far, to be perfectly frank, they do not go too far. Then you have the really weird, like, solo journaling RPGs that pop up here a game. Like, a lot, like, you're not going to get discovered on here. I think that's the best way to kind of word it. Yeah, yeah, itch.io is good for that. Like, upload things, like, I tend to be a bit conservative when it comes to, like, if I'm using other people's assets on it. That's why I only upload, like, the good ones. Oh. This is very light. But yeah, no, you can do a lot of cool stuff with this on itch every now and again. But I don't really think there's that much else to go over. It's nice and simple. Nice and easy. Nothing too exciting on itch. We got some cool stuff on Kickstarter though. That's always nice to see. So, in conclusion, I think we actually did pretty solid. Let me see. We have to go to, as kind of a wrap up to things, what's on the schedule for me. For the Notepad experience, we have a few things we're going to be doing. Most notably, we are going to be, if I scroll down here, I need to set everything back up the way it has to be. With Project Tactics done, what I need to do is I need to put you on here. I need to hit Control Shift 8, paste that. And we need to do Guy E, the TTRPG. Put that right there. Because currently, we are on Ojizan Demon Slayer Corporation. Now, this does also mean we're going to be going under a next round of voting. Yes, democracy is occurring soon. So get ready, everybody. When democracy occurs, there will be blood. Because, the fires of the democratic process demand those understand it. Now, what does this actually mean? We have a few concepts, few games that are kind of on the list tentatively, and those are Aces, which is Action Squad Combat Evolved, which is pretty much the Arma RPG. We have Pulpy Riverboat Adventure, which I have the idea for it. It might not be the Riverboat Adventure. It might just be like Home Base Adventure, or I will just make something up. Like, here's the Flying Castle RPG. Like, just something like there's this distinctive home base aspect to that. I think that would be kind of fun. With the idea of, like, you're constantly trying to repair the thing. You're also trying to, do things. It would be effectively be like a pulpier barotrauma, you could say. We have Hell Jumpers. Hell Jumpers is going to be that's a tentative name, by the way. I'm terrible with names. If you ever have any other names for these, feel free to tell me. Hell Jumpers is going to be a game about Horde mode, where there are going to be... See, you have the right idea. It's democratically, democracy is forged in blood, and we have here in the Sprug Workshop, this is no different. So pretty much, like, Hell Jumpers is all about doing the Horde mode. How do you make a game based entirely around not fighting one-on-one or a couple dozen versus you? I mean hundreds versus you. You are absolutely ripping and tearing through hundreds of thousands. your kill count by the end of the adventure should be in the hundreds of thousands of you just mowing through them. But, as with the most case for these games, games like Left 4 Dead and a lot of these kind of games, is like one of the Death Watch RPGs. To a degree, I'm going to actually be having to use that as like an idea. But it's kind of one of those ideas where you are there, you're incredibly strong, you're pretty powerful. The problem is, your ammo is limited, your health is limited, and you may kill 100 of them, but 1,000 more will take their place. You are at a perpetual disadvantage of numbers and of attrition, which is going to be the main thing about that, of those games, which is attrition. You know, we're going to lose. Can we take this fight? Can we actually kill all these enemies? Probably not, because there's too many of them. You do not physically have enough bullets to deal with them. So that'll be kind of an interesting thing to kind of undergo. We have Headspace, which is based entirely off of Mori, which I watched a full playthrough of Mori. I like Mori. I like some of the ideas in it. Didn't like the ending very much. I didn't like the last quarter of that game. I did not like very much. I think the story went a little bit weird. But I think using kind of the combat mechanics and concepts from it could be interesting. What I was thinking about doing is pretty much everyone is John except you're inside the brain. It's like, okay, you are this person, and you're taking just small aspects of who they are and kind of like things that they've adopted over the years. So it would be like, hey, you're a fucking depressed NEET who is perpetually afraid of, going outside. Who are you taking in his mind, in his headspace? Who are you taking control of to kind of either help him through this or send him down a darker path? That's kind of the idea there. It could be interesting. Like, Amori's big thing was that its combat was based entirely off emotions. I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm happy, it's angry, sad, happy. I think those were the only three. There was another one. Technically, like, Afraid was one, but that was kind of a special one. But, like, I think that could be kind of an interesting idea. And this one is exclusively for a pack of Brazilians, called God Killing Swords, which is all about doing kill 6 billion demons on the table. So there's a few of them that it's been kind of in a weird place for some of them. I think when it comes to the big think ideas, I have quite a bit, but it's mostly a game of like, what are people looking for? Like, where are things going? Flesh Mech Annihilator's coming along. There's just a lot of Flesh Mech Annihilator to go with, mind you. Just a lot. So once Flesh Mech is done, I can start working on one of my own mecha games, which is going to be a Diceless Striker, which is going to be Striker Z. I could do some stuff with that. Oh, wait a second. I can actually get rid of you now. Yay! But we got a few different ones that are kind of in like some in flux. And as I always say, if you subscribe to my Patreon, wink, 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 you can actually shift your vote. It counts for more, and you can actually suggest games a little bit more actively, which I should actually check one of these days and make sure if anyone has suggested anything. Some of these are a little bit better than others, and like just thought-wise, and some are more thought out than others. So it'll be interesting to see what is kind of voted on, if there's anything that's people are like, I really want to see this, or like, hey, I really want to see this. So if anyone ever has any suggestions, if you ever like, no, pal, I think I really want to see this particular game come out, post it, post it in question time, post it in submissions, or just at me on my server. I'm always there. I'm always available. But that's what, most likely, that is what voting is going to be. I will probably leave it till tomorrow. Like tomorrow, like about noon is when the actual democracy will go up, in which we will wait till next Sunday to kind of determine the final voting, just to give everyone about a week to vote if they want to. But that is probably going to be it. We've been streaming for about 3.5 hours. Fuck me. But thank you all. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll probably actually throw up a no, expansion as kind of a side thing, what people are looking for there. So that should be interesting. See, if I wanted to be really, really wiggity whack, if I wanted to be real whack, what I could probably do is put in something here, which we can probably do. And do something like a Chromestrike expansion right here. But that would be kind of its own thing. There's demand, I can do it. If there's demand, I'll see what I can do. I'm always there for the people. Remember that. So, thank you all. I will catch you all later. And I will see you on Monday, actually. I've actually get a break from streaming, because I've streamed every day this week. Holy shit, make it end.